What's up, everybody? This is Ed. We're back with another video. Just doing the Everybody Hates Black Men Variety Hour. Um, keep the stream going. I see Fantastic ended his stream. Wanted to wait for him to end it. Didn't want to. That's another thing, man. We gotta start getting better at scheduling these streams. But I'm more of a, I get inspired and then I do a stream kind of deal. But anyway, so there's been some stuff that's been said today. Shout out to Bernard Riley. He usually doesn't do Saturday streams. A lot of folks. I mean, sometimes some of this shit is like unnecessary. It really is, and you have to take a step back and realize how much. I don't want to say waste of time it is, but how much shit, all these little spats that goes on in the manosphere and shit like that. And it's just always some circular shit. I will tell you this though, it does keep the viewership going, but at the same time, I mean, folks have demonstrated that's not necessary, but it is what it is. So anyway, this will be one where I'll leave it open to people hopping on. But what I want to do is I want to kind of, you all have heard me talk about, the business of YouTube and stuff like that before. And so I'm going to, talk about that, talk about some other stuff. Shout out to my man, Tom Thibodeau, who got hired for the Knicks. That is a clusterfuck waiting to happen because the Knicks don't want to win. So that is going to be very, very interesting, to say the least. Yeah, we'll see about all of that because there's a reason, I hate being a naysayer and that's not what I'm going to be now, but there's a reason the concerns that I voiced were not concerns that were put out there just for the sake of putting shit out there. I don't do that. And also I understand the need for a lot of people like to talk secrecy and shit like that, but the reality of the situation is the shit that motherfuckers don't want you to know, you don't know. So people, a lot of times people will talk about, well, this is not for a public forum and all of that, but people kill me with that shit because my thing is I ain't got shit to hide. And I'm not saying that folks that say that insinuating they do, but a lot of times that shit can be used in order to control the conversation, to control what is being said, how it's being said. Certain things shouldn't be said. And I'm like, at the end of the day, there's nothing that's going to be said that's like going to be earth shattering. There's nothing that's going to be said that has not been said before at some point if you've been in this space as long as folks have been in it. So most people are aware of the beefs. And I can tell you right now, Hammer, niggas have been looking for you, Hammer. Folks have been asking where you at. You apparently there's an APB out for your ass. And some people will say, well, why do we always have these conversations? We have these conversations because, as you start to every kind of, I don't want to call it generation, but you get new people to come in this space, new people with different opinions. And there are people that want to see, here's the thing. There's people that want to see the manosphere grow, but there's also people, and some of those people are the same people that they're worried about what that growth means. And I'm not talking about really content. I am talking about content creators, but I'm more talking about kind of like the audience. It's like a kid. They don't really want the thing to grow so fast that it becomes something that people do not want. And that's where a lot of the friction can be. And I can understand that. One of the things that I'm trying to, figure out how to do again, that YouTube used to do like recommended channels. And when I say recommended channels, I'm talking about like if you would search for a certain channel, kind of like how Instagram, how it'll have other accounts that are similar. they'll have other channels that are similar, and that was a way of kind of like really going through channels rather than just having to find them via videos and stuff. That was another way to get found, which was I thought was a really good feature, but that's not a feature that's as prominent anymore. And it's been a second since I really searched out how to do that, but I definitely want to find out how to do that if that's still there. I'm gonna talk about a variety of shit today, to be honest. Right now,
What? Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. So, what's up?
You said that. So apparently, so I just came home, I think, from work, and I was checking on, the past my notifications, and apparently shit went down Bernard Riley stream today with O'Shea coming in. Like, what's going on?
Oh no, nothing. I mean, nothing went
Oh
like quote
Lord.
unquote down. I mean, so that shit was kind of a joke, but not really. Um, and that was just me being on Cuda shit. But with you, but as far as what happened with O'Shea's stuff, nothing really went down. I mean, O'Shea, it's all O'Shea usually doesn't always pop up on people's channels
Yeah.
like that. That's not his style. And there's a lot of YouTubers where that's not their style. So it's a big deal when he does it. Obviously, Bernard Riley Saturday stream, and some stuff was kind of hashed out. There was actually some stuff that was basically it was like separation between the stream team, quote unquote, and the Manosphere 2.0 and stuff like that. It wasn't a big deal. What came out of it though was that folks are gonna have a meeting about doing business with YouTube. So what came out of it, the main thing you need to know is Obsidian said that he's open to doing business. All of the bigger, more prominent YouTubers, Kevin Samuels, Obsidian, he tried Angry Man and O'Shea, which, he's really speaking for himself first and foremost, is open to doing business, like the partnership, I guess, that he had with Bernard. Now, people, I can't believe, and I'm not trying to act like I'm in the know, but it was very obvious that Obsidian is not the type of dude that's going to be on something over and over and over again, and there's nothing to be gained. I mean, it's not like he needed like Bernard's clout or anything. So that was obvious to me that was a partnership, and it didn't matter because it's a good combination. It works. I don't even like it. So for people to think that that's like a revelation, but then again, everybody hasn't been in the manosphere as long as I have. So I've seen stuff like that before. I mean,
Hey,
I'm not saying. Hold on, I'm not saying that that's what Alan Roger Curry and Obsidian had, but I remember when they used to be on do short term, as Alan would call short term, like collaborations. That were like a series and stuff like that, and they've gone back and forth, and then turned around and did it again. I can go all the way back to Tommy Sotomayor and Jason Black, which almost predates Manosphere 1.0, which certain people never knew that Jason Black and Thomas Sotomayor actually was on the same platform at one point. People never knew that because, again, I go that far back. Anyway, go ahead.
yeah. So well, what I'm gonna say is this, right? So you said that people looking for me. What do you mean?
I
My
don't
name is.
know. I mean, I don't know. Go ask Kuda. That like I know that's something that he
Oh yeah,
mentioned.
yeah.
No,
See, here's the
no,
thing.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
what it was about.
So
It
I
was
don't
just
know.
trying to bring you on to give you some bullshit fucking advice. That's what it was.
Okay, that's it.
Oh,
Yeah,
Because
what
yeah.
does he need advice for? What, you about to get married to do some stupid shit?
No,
that's not what it is.
no, it's just a simple fact that he's in a good position and them niggas ain't. So
Oh. And I'm gonna tell you something. People always, because I know. Shout out to B. Me and B had a back and forth on when I was doing my private, my just me, and he was getting mad. And my thing is this: if folks want to get married, fucking get married. The advice, the shit that I'm saying, I've gotten from people that are married and not in submissive situations, as far as they run their shit. People that have been divorced and dudes that are not married. And most of the advice actually comes from dudes that actually are married. So, it's usually the older cats that really throw it under the bus more than the younger cats do, ironically, now that I'm thinking about it. Like, so, understand it. I'm not just getting some shit from, oh nigga, you ain't married, so you don't know type bullshit. And these are motherfuckers that are successful now. But his opinion was valid, and at least he was talking about getting married for like the purposes of him getting married. Not him, but like men. What's the advantage of men? Not necessarily like a bitch talking through him. So I'll give him that, and I put that in the video that had that. And but my personal view on marriage when it comes to younger guys is motherfucker wait. You know,
Yeah,
you got time. If she the one, it ain't gonna matter. You know, these hoes don't all of a sudden want to be married, like really want to be married, and then all of a sudden they go back to the streets. Is well, shit. If I would have just married her, I would have saved her from the street. No, you saved
yeah,
yourself like 5 years of alimony. So my advice to younger dudes is wait. And my middle brother, who's 28, you know, he's been with his chick for shit now. Look, it's like 4 fucking Thanksgiving I've seen this motherfucker, and she's solid, but at the same time, even my mom, like, she's fine, but she's saying, nigga, wait. and they live together, so it's like, yeah. But anyway, MOT
yeah.
and then Hammer.
Okay.
Sister, that was a meeting on Saturday. You say on Bernard Raleigh Street?
No,
Yeah,
what they're saying is there's gonna be a meeting tomorrow night, about doing business, like kind of like a cartel thing. You know, Obsidian is very much, you know, I want to say it in a way that don't sound like I'm trying to throw shade. He's very much comparing and contrasting notes as far as what the the love industry cartel, that's what he calls it, or that's what he says they call it, Derek Jackson and the bunch are doing, and he wants to kind of create a manosphere equivalent.
No. I mean, what he's trying to do is he's trying to blow up like motherfucking Kevin Samuels, man. Like, can't nobody fucking work with Obsidian like that. I like Obsidian, but Obsidian should be in Kevin Samuels' spot. Like, I thought Obsidian would be in Kevin Samuels' spot by now.
yeah. To be honest, actually.
I mean, okay. So the thing is to be the Hammer. You go, and then is there anything else you wanted to say on that other shit? And then I'm gonna jump into that because I
Okay.
think that,
So yeah. So when it comes to DC Cooler, right? Look, I'm kind of lucky because I live in like the DMV area, Washington DC. So almost over here, it's like all immigrants. I'm surrounded by Ethiopians, El Salvadorans, and they're all like first, second,
yeah,
generation
you
immigrants.
motherfuckers then took over DC. That's their
Yeah. So
fault.
in other words, like I can literally SYSBM where I'm at, which is something that most black men can't
You can
do.
interculturally date where you're at if you
Yeah.
want to do
Yeah.
so too.
So
Yeah, that's what it
So,
is.
so as a result, you know, my goal is very simple. You know, once I graduate my undergrad in computer science, I'll be making some money. I can just literally date any cultured chick that's around the area. Whether she's Ethiopian, whether she's in fact even at my current job, it's already
Also, is different too when you're surrounded like a cluster like that. It's a little
yeah,
bit different because motherfuckers know motherfuckers, and
yeah,
it's a certain expectation. Also, because you're only 4 hours from me. I mean, it's 4 hours for me to get to DC where I'm at. You know, 2 hours to get to Richmond, and then another 2 hours to get to DC. Just going up.
Yeah, that's what's
But
up.
yeah. So, but you know, Gab is out of that area. That's why a lot of stuff that some people say, it's like I don't hear intercultural dating enough. I don't. You know, like any dude that want to keep it black, that should be the main thing. And here's the thing: it's not about saying don't fuck with black women. It's about maintaining your power. But it's a little bit different if you're talking about dealing with other cultures, because again, if you're dealing
yeah.
with first gen, second gen, that's a little bit.
Men want harmony. Men want harmony and structure, and you can't really do that everywhere. That's what the intercultural shit is. Well, what really SYSBM is about. It's just finding a new culture people to deal with.
Yeah.
Not really the color or any of that other crazy shit that just been associated with it, because you know they pandering to like they on some derail shit.
Yeah, and
But
that
like,
depends on the region. Like that depends on, like, if you're in the DMV area, it's a little bit of a different situation. Everything
yeah,
isn't you got to go to the West Coast or shit like that. Now, if you in the Midwest, I just it depends, okay? Because let's be
I
fair.
mean,
The DMV
like
is two
now if you're in
faces
like
of it.
Alabama,
It has,
of course you're not doing
the
no
immigrant
SYSBM.
shit,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the nigga shit. So let's be fair. 'Cause I know I'm
But
putting people up, and I'm
but
thinking there's
bro,
another side to that shit too. But
Edward, look, here in DC, there's like very few African Americans, except if you go to like Eastern South, like some areas. but it's like completely dominated by immigrants now, especially like most. Like,
Well, it depends on what scope are we talking about. But you know what? I'm not an expert on DC.
yeah, yeah, but
Clutches that's Clutches, area. So I'll let him speak on that because he probably
but,
did
but
everything I can. But
if
Hey,
you
what's up?
include, yeah, what's up? Yeah, I meant this real quick, right? If you include DC and Montgomery County and some parts of PG County, like a lot of those areas are like miles and miles. Even the suburban neighborhoods here are mainly immigrants. Like my uncle, he got into like a brand new house in a suburban neighborhood. Like it's like barely any white folks. It's crazy. It's like all immigrants, Pakistani, Iranians. So my thing is, I'm kind of lucky because I literally live in an area where I'm living amongst like immigrants. So when I'm dealing with chicks from El Salvador or Mexico or even Ethiopia, their parents are first generation. They just came here, so they're still culture. The family still wants to get married. So it's almost as if I'm living in another country, but I'm still in the United States. So it's very unique. So yeah.
Oh yeah, and what Hammer said isn't far off from what was the case when I was in DC. As a matter of fact, particularly in the northeastern part of the DMV, I would say eastern Montgomery County, and as of the past, I say 15 years, northern Prince George's County. Then you do have a lot of immigrants who are getting money and then moving to the suburbs in order to make middle class locations. I mean, you can find that. And that's actually a lot of the case in Northern Virginia too. You go to like Annandale, Lorton, parts of Manassas, parts of Woodbridge. It's basically the same thing. So there are a lot of immigrants who are moving there, basically settling and making suburbs out of places that barely have any Anglo-Saxon white people. Or if they do, it's like they're maybe like 20%. It's mostly immigrants. But I will say this to Hammer. I've been seeing you basically on Panel to Panel, and I've been seeing how everyone's been telling you to do this and to get, the starter dagger.
Yeah,
all this sort of thing.
exactly, bro.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. First of all, why did you go to Howard, of all places?
Yeah, I want to know that.
Oh, by the way, before he answers, Chaos, I see you. Clutch isn't coming down. Archer's not coming down. And if MOT comes back, there's going to be a spot for him. Hammer is obviously here first, so that leaves like 2 slots. So you all bear with me because I'm not going to be switching out people like a lot. But I just want to let you know I got the free shit, so y'all can say I'm cheap, whatever. I don't got the 9 nigga shit. So
You have to pay for that?
Panels. Yes, that's a you have to pay the paid version. So that now you all know niggas are cheap if they can't do it. But whatever. It is what it is. I'm just letting y'all know. I'm not purposely keeping you down. But anyway, Hammer, go ahead.
What do you say? Why did I go to where?
Why did you go to Howard? Why did you go where the uppity Negroes were? Go.
Oh, I'm not at Howard. I don't know where I got that from, but but I definitely do go to a 4-year university here in the DMV area.
Was it a black one?
No, it's more of it's a Christian school, so it's very mixed. It's a lot of immigrants in that school too. So yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I know where he's at. I know where he is.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway,
now the reason why I won't tell y'all is because I'm not trying to blow.
No, you don't have to. And Clutch knows where it is anyway, so it doesn't matter as far as what the point is.
Okay.
That's cool. We're not. This isn't a interrogation. This is the first 48.
No, well, not yet. But as for not boxing anyway. But here's the thing, Hammer. As far as the starter hoe goes, first of all, if you're going to that kind of university, to be honest, I don't want to say don't hide yourself and bury yourself in the books, because that's just going to set yourself up for a strategy where you're going to be very nascent of the world. And from my dialogue, from what I've heard with the dialogue between you and other people, it seems like while you are very educated when it comes to your trade and your craft, and I can see you doing very well in the STEM world, I'm concerned at how nascent you are when it comes to the world in general. It seems like, in a sense, you're somewhat naive, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing to be naive or sheltered. But as far as that's concerned, I'm not sure how you were raised. Did you go outside a lot? Did you interact with a lot of people while growing up? Did your parents allow you to, have friends?
So obviously, so you guys already know how I came from a West African family. So now my family is not rich or like we're working class. So, but yeah, the way I grew up was very, like in most immigrant families, you were told very young that you need to work hard, go to school, pay your shit, and that's it.
Don't fuck
There,
with niggas.
yeah, don't don't fuck with African Americans. No offense, but that's what a lot of immigrants tell you because
So they really
yes,
do say that shit because I hear
no,
motherfuckers trying to come up here and try to deny it.
No,
but
yeah,
look,
they say that shit. Hell yeah.
but see, the
Well, it's
reason why
50-50,
the
honestly. It's 50-50. It's the faults on both sides, but continue.
yeah, but see, the reason why they say that is because of what they see on television.
I'm not
Like for
about to
real,
go on
if
ADOS.
you're somebody who's Nigerian or Cameroonian or Ethiopian, right? When you look at television, you see people like Drake, or, you see movies, rap videos. So this perception of a lot of immigrants, African Americans are out here, being thugs with guns. Now, of course, somebody like me, going to school, I have African Americans who I know who are cool. There's actually a guy at my workplace who's actually for the manosphere. He actually is Ehbm, so I was surprised. So that was very unique for me. But other than that, that's the reason why a lot of times they don't want you to interact because and to be honest, another reason that's not talked a lot is because they view the community, the Black American community, as mainly matriarchal. Like the Black American men are portrayed of like being
Oh shit! Yeah, let's go. Let's go deeper into this because I mean I'm not about to go all ADOS on you and trust me, you got folks that don't. Like Xanax will be the first one to be like, "Fuck that shit."
Yeah, most,
You good,
yeah.
but I'm not about to do that. That's not really what I'm trying to do. But that is something I haven't heard, but I've always suspected.
Yeah. So if you're an immigrant from El Salvador or Ethiopia, whatever, right, or Africa or even Iran,
I'm talking
you
mainly
come
black ones. I mean, but we
yeah,
can talk about the other ones too.
yeah. You come from a very patriarchal society. So if you're a father and you're a mother and you're Ethiopian, like, for example, right, and you're seeing on television how for African American communities, right, the way the Black community in America is portrayed, it seems as if the women run everything.
Well,
When you
that's
come
not
to
going to. I don't mean to cut you off, but that's not going to because you let the feminists and the black chicks tell you hip hop is extremely patriarchal. So what's interesting is that's not the hip hop. So so what else are they looking at to get that opinion? Because that's not really something that's not something that white folks are telling them. White folks are telling them, "Don't these niggas ain't shit," but they're not. So if they're getting that from something else. So I'm curious to go into that.
yeah, so first is television. A lot of times it's also from people here. So somebody came to America, and
News,
yeah,
like TV shows.
yeah, and also another way to get it is from siblings or from a family connection. So somebody came to the United States, right, and they had interactions with African Americans here. Maybe they interacted with dudes who were thugs in the neighborhood. They'll relay that information back home and say, oh, this is how it is over here with African Americans. So it's a lot of things. But keep in mind that immigrants have been coming to America for a very long time. So this is information that's been passed on for generations. Right? So you have families too, like the uncle came to America like let's say 20 years ago, and now like 10 years later the father comes. So it takes time, but after all these years of what is immigration, the information passes, and a lot of times it becomes a stereotype too. So if, for example, even for example, the school I currently go to is mostly immigrants. Very few of them are actually African Americans. Most of the black people at my school are actually immigrants. And I've heard Ethiopians tell me, yeah, look, I would never let my daughter or anybody date African American because because that's not right. So obviously that's wrong, but obviously a lot of guys in the matter, so a lot of guys already know that stereotype. So it is what it
Yeah,
is.
I want to let other people get involved, obviously, but it's not that it's wrong. It's not wrong. Even like if a white man says he wants his kids to look like him, his grandkids, that's not wrong. The thing is, don't what kills me is how motherfuckers will just be in denial about it when I know that it's because I want them to actually not explain themselves to the point where they owe me an explanation. But see, that's an answer that I would like to have, like that gynocracy thing, because black folks act like that shit. No, they think when I say that shit, they like nobody else picks up on that shit. This is why a lot of these guys react differently to dudes that establish that they're not like that. If they pick up that they're not on that shit. But and that's not the only reason, obviously. But I want to get other people in the panel. Like, what's up, Liam? How are you doing? I don't know if you want to say like what region you're at, but what do you think about what's being said with the immigrant thing as far as We talk about a lot of different shit. So yeah.
Yeah. What's up to the panel? I'm actually 18 and I'm Nigerian, right? And I'm actually in the DMV. So yeah,
Sheesh.
Oh shit. So
yeah.
like I told you. And I didn't know that. And like I said, I'm not going. And even when it comes to ADOS, I'm not on this. Fuck everybody, ADOS. I'm more like, look, we
I
got
know
our
what you mean.
priorities. Y'all got your priorities. Let's talk and see if we can find common ground. But I'm
Yeah,
not about to play the one-way street Pan Africanism game like these older niggas did. That's all I'm doing. That's my
yeah.
only thing.
Well, Nigerian guys. One thing about Nigerian guys, they don't fuck with Black American women. Like Nigerian guys don't gotta be told. It's mostly the women they gotta tell. So the girls, they got the
My
mom
boss
from
is
dads.
Zimbabwe, and you know how it is when you got your name and on the Microsoft Outlook. You be like, all right, what's his fucking name? 'Cause, you call him something for short, and you like and then you got this is his name. Oh, okay, Mama Dude. Okay, so I get it. It is what it is. But anyway, go ahead. So, what are your thoughts, especially as an 18-year-old, because you're well into the millennial.
Yeah. So basically, from what I noticed, it's really the older generations that that think they're better than ADOS. It's not really the younger generation or people my age. And the reason, and you guys mentioned it before, it's because of like social media, the news, and shit like that. And I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the older generation, I don't know, I actually don't even know why they have that mindset, but they think they're superior. Like a lot of them think they're superior for some reason.
I mean, I do. I mean, it's a history with it. My question to you is: are you first gen, second gen?
Oh, I'm second gen.
Okay, so BGS would say like
I
it's
was born here.
different
Yeah.
depending on the gen. The gens, the generations depend too, because like
Yeah,
somebody like an immigrant or a first gen may be a little
yeah.
bit different than the second gen. So keep that in mind too. But and I'm not dismissing anything you're saying, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that
mainly for first gen. If you're a first gen,
Hammer,
you're
are
gonna have
you
to.
first gen, second gen?
Well, I'm actually in between because I was actually born in Cameroon, but I grew up here, so I'm actually like in between in a way if you think about
So
it.
you're
So
point .5. Okay.
Yeah.
yeah,
I was born here.
yeah. Okay, so that means you're second generation. For me, I actually grew up partially in the Africa and then came here to America, so I'm sort of like in between in a way. But yeah. But yeah, if you're a first gen, you definitely were told that. You definitely had that mindset. Now, if you're a second gen and you like were born here, it's very different. For example, even for like my two younger brothers, they were born here and they're very different. So it's definitely based on the generation. So yeah.
And basically a lot of that shit with the older generation is tribalism. Black folks in America have not really, we've had our things, but really the thing about black people in America is for the most part, they're indifferent to immigrants. It's more neutral. That like the ADOS thing is kind of relatively new. And a lot
Yeah.
of that really doesn't have anything to do with immigrants. It really has more to do with hoteps in the United States. They want to be anti-Christian, and then you have, so what the fuck have you all done? Because all you all are doing is talking this one-way street Pan-Africanism, and that's never been called out because black people have been, oh, we need to get back to our roots and da da da. So really, you all felt the backlash. Well, not you all, but that felt the backlash. Now, on the same tip, it wasn't helped when folks try to act like feeding like, oh, there's no one way Pan-Africanism. You all are just this is this, and so the denial thing didn't really help. Or this, I'm not trying to play Republican and Democrat, but it's like we're gonna deny that motherfuckers got a superiority complex. We're gonna, just like how if black people in America tried to deny the colorism shit in the 80s. Like I would be like, all of you all are full of shit because you all would color the entertainers. Look at the entertainers in the 80s. That tells you everything you need to know. And look at who they hated, Bobby Brown. The women want some colorist shit, and so it would be the same thing. So I didn't even want to make this that kind of conversation. It just happened to come into that with that. But since we're on that shit with some of the people, did you all know if they're immigrants and stuff like that? What do they think about Trump might get elected or who they want to get elected? What is the the saying? Now, obviously, you all don't speak for all immigrants, but I'm talking about within you all circles, family, whatever. What are they saying on that shit?
Can I answer that? So when it comes to
then I'm gonna get Renaissance Man in there. Then I'm gonna get
Liam.
Liam.
It's cool.
Well, let me get Renaissance Man. So Renaissance Man, what's up?
Hey, what's up, everyone?
What's up, bro?
Can you hear me?
What's up?
Yeah,
Yeah,
shout
no,
out Charles. Charles, what's up? Charles is in the background.
no, I was gonna say I'm in DMV area too. I'm
Yeah,
up
what
in
the
Bethesda
fuck?
though.
Oh,
So
shit.
here, that is
Yo,
Oh,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Did you bring these people clutch?
what?
damn.
No, but
I thought you got away from that place. Like, you know, the way you make it sound like you act like you escaped. Anyway, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say I've only been in DMV for about a year and a half though. I was in Atlanta before, but no, I definitely noticed a different vibe between just like when you meet someone who's African
Still a
immigrant.
bitch that's a mayor, but go ahead. No, I'm playing.
Nah, I don't. Nah, I was never a fan of her as a mayor, but that's another story.
That's everywhere. So don't mind me. Go ahead.
Nah, but I was gonna say, from what I've seen, at least with the African immigrants, it's sort of like me. I'm ADOS, so when first interaction is kind of like they're feeling you out. Like, hey, are you about something? Are you really, on your purpose, on your grind, or are you just on the BS? And from what I've seen as well, is when they see that, hey, you're striving for something, you're working hard, they seem to be cool, and there seems to be a brotherhood. Versus when you got someone who's on that
Don't fuck my
BS.
daughter though, but we good. Now go ahead.
No.
Actually,
No,
I'm playing.
Can I say something about that? After
Yeah, go ahead.
Sussman? Okay, so like you guys know I'm 18, right? So basically, I kind of grew up with the Black American culture and stuff like that, and basically like other Africans like my age and stuff like that, we pretty much like adapt the Black American culture, and a lot of us, end up a lot of us end up dating Black American women actually.
Well, see, the ones I've dealt with have been older dudes, like guys in their 30s, 40s, who, more, kind of like a big brother type of thing. That's the initial vibe I kind of get from them until they like see, hey, this dude's about something. Then it's like, hey, you're cool. Which I can understand, to be honest with you, because in the sense of, if you came here obviously for a reason. Granted, they don't know the history and all that, but the image of Black people that we've allowed to portray around the world does not help us at all.
Thank you.
Yeah, and bro, look, the reason why the older generation, even the generation after, look, when it comes to diaspora, does not hate African Americans. I don't know where that comes from, right? The problem is that because of the image that's that's pushed around the world to the white old media, there is this sort of image of Black Americans are a certain way. So when they come here and they see a Black American that is not like that, they're actually happy. They're glad. Oh shit, I found somebody who I can relate with. I found somebody who I can build something with in America. So a lot of times they come to America because they have this idea that if I come to the United States, there's already going to be a group of African Americans that I can link up with and get shit done. Ironically, when they get here and they find out that the community is destroyed, that's why they ended up secluding into their own community. The Asians go with the Asians, Ethiopians make their own group because they feel like, okay, when it comes to the Black community in America, I can't plug into that community because I'm like the chicks run everything. So so I'm like, so it's but if they find a Black American, whether it's BGS or Edward, who they can work with, they can work with you. So that's how it is.
Well, also you gotta look. There's a difference between dealing with individuals and dealing with collectives, and the thing about it is, look, immigrants are not one thing. Even within one race, even amongst Asians, dealing with Filipinos are completely different than dealing with Vietnamese. Even though they're two going to be more similar than dealing with folks that are Japanese or dealing with Chinese. And then it depends on the region. Like, are you in New York? Are you in the West Coast? Even with Italians, that stuff varies.
Well, they all act the goddamn same when you get around them. Because Japanese, Chinese, Bengalese, they all act the fucking same around supposed Black people. There's no sense.
That's true. That's true.
Well, but no. I'll give you those two.
This is the problem.
But go ahead.
See, this is the problem that Black people have with Black immigrants. Is that
because that's one I wanted to keep from Black
immigrants. Is that one, they act snooty towards Black people. So a lot of times you'll get Black people who say, well, who the fuck is this motherfucker here? Like, he didn't have to go through the struggles we had. And you'll have motherfuckers be like, well, the reason why you're over here is because you're lazy. You're not making it. Until you be like, no, we have a whole systematic fucking infrastructure here that says keep your Black ass out. But yet, you take all the benefits that we fought for, you don't share any business or any opportunities with black people here, you talk shit about us, then you go back and you give the dollar back home, or not even back home, because a lot of y'all don't even fuck with back home anymore. Once y'all might do it for cultural reasons once in a while, but that's the reason why. Because a lot of times you talk shit about us to try to take our benefits and our women.
Yeah, it's like when motherfuckers move up north and then they may fuck with the south because that's where mama's still at. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's pretty much like that. Like why did you leave your country if y'all were so right? And you get into conversations like, in our country we had these rules and we had this, so that's the reason why you packed your bags and ran. Oh, okay. You knew where the fucking turkey was tasting good. Okay, and that's the part that people get pissed about. Like, oh no, y'all can open up because y'all basically on the same level as the Asians, the same level as the Arabs. Because guess what? They ain't giving how many black people that are American born and raised can open up businesses just as easily as immigrants. I'll wait. Motherfuckers can open up a restaurant. Look at the Asians in some of these restaurants. They can have they literally got raps tap dancing on the counters and they will not be closed. Takes an act of God for it to happen.
And
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and one thing that folks need to understand is that shit can work in reverse too. Like if you had our middle, not even our upper class, but our middle class, like our skill based class, go to pick a country as a collective of maybe 5,000, 10,000, 5,000, 10,000 with the economics that we have, especially if we can still draw that from the United States based on networks and connections, we would do crazy shit too. But see, the difference is if we just went in there and we didn't get government protection, we wouldn't get the same kind of economic welcome, not as a group, maybe individuals, because the individual is not a threat. Even if they got a lot of money, they're still not seen as the same.
I would disagree with that, but
versus one of the things we tell folks when they try to say we're arrogant, I say where it counts is economics. And folks cannot see where black people, we don't discriminate against we discriminate against each other economically. I'm talking about ADOS more than anybody, and that includes Africans. You can set up a business in a community, and it's not really outside some nigga shit, that's true, but it's not like there's a collective effort to box folks out, because the government really couldn't fix that, because they can't make people spend money with people if it was really collective like that. And we've always been that way. So, and another thing you said, Hammer, and this is something everybody says, is this shit with the media. You notice I can understand I can understand Liam saying that because he wouldn't know no better as far as if you're young and that's all you know. But we're talking about folks that are older, that they know how they're portrayed in the media, the same media, but and then they have an issue with that. But at the same time, it's like the shit they say is valid, and really where that comes from is what Charles didn't say, and and I know he probably would have alluded to it, is the snooty shit is that's code switching, because motherfuckers are not that snooty around white folks. Like the same folks that'll be like that, they know how to.
I'll go in depth if you really want me to go in depth about that.
So that's the key. So it's not like, well, they're just snooty. Same thing with our
snooty. Let's just see. If you're gonna go Faulkner, go full fucking Faulkner out. You got to go full Faulkner. It's like
I don't need to do that when you're here, but yeah,
you don't have to do that. Let's just say what it is. It's kissing white ass. That's what it is.
Yeah.
As soon as they could get around poor white trash, and they will kiss the ass, and will fuck you over just for the fucking acknowledgement of white people. Have I seen it? You goddamn right.
Hold on, Charles, real quick. Hold on, Charles. I got a question for Liam, and I got a question for Hammer.
All right.
Have you all ever heard anybody in your family or any black immigrants talk shit about white folks, even away from white folks? Not necessarily to their, I'm not asking this like I know the answer. I don't know. So I'm not even talking about in their face. I'm talking about even behind their back, like in your house. Like these white motherfuckers ain't shit. Like anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. You ever go first? You ever go first or Liam? Like who?
We'll go with Liam first.
All aliens. Go.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot actually.
Oh, a lot. So, what are some of the things that they say?
They pretty much see pretty much what you
I mean,
just
it can
said.
be broad.
Shit.
I'm not asking you to give me specifics, but I mean, that's a question I've never heard asked.
Do they
Yeah.
actually use the word motherfuckers after they say white?
Yeah, pretty much what every what you just said. Yeah, they pretty much talk shit about them, say that they ain't shit, and how because my parents, right, they came here and they've had some like racist experiences with white people. So
Now, were they saying that shit before they got their nigga call, wake up call? Or after
Come on, Edward.
I don't
know.
know. I really, no, you're right, but I actually don't know about that. No.
Okay, that makes sense. You're younger than you
Oh,
wouldn't.
well,
But
here's the thing.
don't ask them like that, but ask maybe your cousin some shit, maybe like an uncle or something, because that's interesting. Hammer, what about you?
Now look, okay, as a first, second generation, I'm gonna lay down the whole picture because there's a lot of context I have to give if I answer this question. Okay.
You do realize this is code for game, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh my god. Okay, look.
Switching
The
101.
whole story. Like no, I mean you like for people to act like motherfuckers can't tell what game is unless it's told. But go ahead, Hammer.
Okay, so for example, right now, you guys already know that how most African countries were created by European colonizers to borders, right? And each African nation has approximately close to 100 or 200 tribes within them. So, for example, the country I'm from, Cameroon, we have over 100 tribes in different languages.
Francophone country. They got
So a lot of times, for example, here in the United States, right, African Americans are just one ethnic group. So it's easy for you guys to communicate and see yourself as one group. If you're in Nigeria, you're sharing that nation with like hundreds of other ethnicities. So when you say Nigerian, I know that's a very broad term because
it's like really three major ones. And is that really the same issue with Cameroon? Because Cameroon ain't as big as Nigeria. But
but even there are three major ones, but even with that, there's still hundreds in Nigeria and smaller ones, and in Cameroon is much more even space out. What am I trying to say? When it comes to Africans, when you're in Africa, right, there is this hatred towards Europeans, and that's because the effects of colonialism are still there. I'm like, the reason they speak French and English is the fact. But at the same time, there's also tribal competition. So there's still, on one hand, they hate white folks because of what was done to them in the country, right? But on the other hand, they also have this tribal competition with the tribe next door.
That's Africa, though. That has nothing to do with
you gotta realize this, right? Motherfuckers will be smiling those pretty little white teeth so fucking wide that they damn near swallowing their ears when they see a white person.
Well, do they understand the concept of black? Like an immigrant?
Let me finish. Y'all let me. Okay.
All right, I'll let you get it all out, Hammer. Let's get.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I was trying to lay down the groundwork. Okay, now, but when they come to the United States, they see African American as another sort of its own group for the most part. So if I'm somebody and I'm from the Bamileke tribe and I come to the United States, yes, I'm Cameroonian, but I'm going to see myself as part of my own tribe. So they're going to interact with African Americans as sort of another group, another tribe. Wait. And yes, when it comes to white folks, they are going to act differently. They are, because in their minds, okay, the white folks are perceived to have all the money and the influence. That's why I'm in the United States. That's why I'm in Europe, right? So my goal is I'm going to try to get close to them as possible so I can get access to resources and maybe go back home. A lot of the immigrants I know, like in my school, like a lot of the parents, their goal is to go back home. My uncle, he's going to go back home. Like my father, my mother, like a lot of the people I know in my family, their goal is very simple. Come to America, get the money, smile, do what you got to do. What a smart white folks do what you got to do. And then once you settled, you go back home. You stay here and you transfer the work to the kids. But ultimately, a lot of the first gens do want to go back home or go back and forth. This is the reason why when you look at the black population in the United States, most of the passport holders are non-ADOS because they move back and forth a lot. So it's so a lot of that smiling stuff, that is true. That happens a lot. They will a lot of times do whatever it takes to appeal to white folks because they want to be able to come here, make money quick, and be able to go back and just stunt on the niggas back home. That's what it's about. And a lot of times that's even why they put so much pressure on the second generation to do good in school. So that's about it.
Oh yeah, you talking about a guy who I'm like Ryu. I'm the world warrior. I've been around the world and So I was waiting for somebody to lie so I could cuss them the fuck out. Because I'm like, somebody better tell the goddamn truth.
Wait, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, I know. They come here and that's what they do.
Yeah,
I'm not
yes.
gonna
Let me let Liam. I know Renaissance. Give me a second. Let Liam jump in. Then I'm gonna let Clutch. Then I'm gonna go back to Charles. Liam, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I wanted to piggyback on the point that Hammer made about there being like hella different tribes and ethnicities in Africa. So basically, yeah, he was right about that. And actually, a lot of Africans, if you guys don't know, don't fuck with each other. So it's like
yeah.
it's not really like a personal thing against ADOS. They like Africans
There's
in
no
general
difference
don't
with
fuck with each
America.
other at all. Yeah.
There's
Well, I
no
mean,
difference with America.
right.
Motherfuckers from DC don't. I mean, unless you cool with somebody from DC, doesn't mean you automatically fuck with somebody from
Yeah,
DC
I
in
think,
Baltimore.
so two things with this conversation. One is it's always assumed what we, I'm not saying you all doing it on purpose, but it's always assumed what we don't know. And on
Yeah.
this panel, and that usually works a lot of times. You talk about people on the street, but these conversations aren't always going to come up. But like you talk to us, like folks know that there's multiple tribes in Africa and stuff like that. But also, it's this thing about the tribalism thing is funny because then by that notion, ADOS should have been just black people exercising their tribal abilities. Which when
Yeah.
folks act like, how the fuck could you do this? Why this? So basically, motherfuckers was running game when they was acting like they don't understand. I don't understand. How could you all do this? We're all one. So basically, you all are basically admitting that was game, and we knew, and folks knew that was game up front. Now, obviously, Clutch had his own different reasons for not fucking with it, which I respect. Because I even knew that it like the women kind of took to it a little bit too quick.
Wait,
so
wait. Can I say?
but,
Wait, can I finish my point?
yeah, finish your point.
Wait, I wasn't saying that that you don't know about there being different tribes. I was just saying that a lot of people, like a lot of ADOS people, they don't know that Africans in general don't fuck with each other at all, and that like the same fuckery that happens over in Black America happens over in Africa, and it also happens also in America when we do fuck shit to each other. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that. I mean, maybe we don't have an imagination for the fuck shit that you all do to each other. But anyway, go Clutch and then Charles and then Lee.
Let me break it down for you guys. Like,
Hold on. Clutch has been quiet for a minute. So go Clutch and then go Charles and then Renaissance.
Yeah, it's exactly what I'm talking about with needing to be socialized. But as far as the immigrant thing, I grew up around it as a quote unquote ADOS person. However, according to the community, my perspective on it is null and void because I don't fit into the little ADOS bubble that has been preset by us by certain external people that people within the community tend to buy into. But I'll give my perspective nonetheless. As far as my interactions with quote unquote immigrants, most of the people who I have hung out with, particularly when I was in PG County, were immigrants because for the most part you had immigrants and then you had ADOS people, and we all knew what ADOS people were on at the time and still are, if not even more today. So as far as my interactions with them, a lot of my social life comes from dealing with that group of individuals regardless of race. And I can tell you this, there are half of them who stick with their own, and I can command and respect that. And a lot of them probably weren't raised around or weren't exposed to American culture for better or for worse. But there are, let's just say the first generation Americans, or the ones who picked up on American culture real quick because their parents allowed them to interact with Americans. Those are the ones I was able to get along with pretty well. And I don't recall any sort of major hostility, particularly any sort of derogatory terms thrown my way. Even those who I got into fights with, it was never on a racial front. It was just boys being boys, and then we got along the next day, that sort of thing. Salvadorians, they're another one. Those were the main ones I got into fights with. Got along with the next day, but that's another story. But as far as dating goes, didn't receive a lot of resistance. I got less resistance from men than I got from the ADOS community, but that's, as I said, that's for a whole different discussion. But as far as people who may have more of a gripe with immigrants, the one thing I will agree their gripe is this: why is it that out of all the first world countries you could have chosen, you chose the country, particularly black immigrants. You chose the country where people who looked like you faced the most institutional discrimination, whereas you could have gone anywhere else, like Canada, like Australia, New Zealand, the UK, any other European countries, and got the same quality of life, if not a better quality of life, than if you were to have immigrated to the United States. I have a theory. I have my theories on why certain immigrants come here instead of going to more in tune first world countries, but yeah, they can explain that later on, but I'll yield my point.
Yeah, let me answer my point real quick, right? First, to answer his point, Zenato's point, it's because America is number one. The U.S. is still part of the world, so everyone's gonna want to come to.
Yeah, that was the '90s, dude. That era is past.
Yeah, I know, but obviously it's true that China's in the rise right now, but as for now, there is still this perception, especially in Africa, that America, USA, right? That's a perception, right? Now, to answer the point about what I was trying to tell Edward, look, in Africa right now, there was a Kenyan professor in the University of Nairobi, Kenya, who essentially, because for example, a bank in Nigeria, right, essentially acquired two Kenyan banks, and a Kenyan professor came and said, "Oh, we are being colonized by Nigeria." Why am I saying this? The reason I'm saying it because even amongst Africans, you could do something as simple as buy a bank. You could be a Nigerian, buy buy property in Kenya, and all of a sudden now, because you're from West Africa, everybody's gonna start looking at you a different way. That's how deep it goes.
Yeah, Hammer. That's called game. That's, I guess, tribal game. That's like politicking, basically. But no, I hear you, because I mean, I've seen whites do that. I mean, people forget white people have their own ethnic groups as well, even amongst the more English style whites. So I mean, and that stuff used to happen, but I get it. I get that. So so I know I'm gonna let Charles rock real quick, and then we'll kind of move on maybe to something else, because I really didn't intend for this to be an 80 hours conversation, but it is a variety hour, and I'm glad, since y'all in the same region, y'all can actually give different perspectives. So yeah, close it out.
Let me go after Charles.
Okay, my bad.
Mr. Mikey.
Can I ask him real quick? One more thing. Okay, so I'm gonna real quick. Okay. To put y'all on some quick game, okay? A lot of African immigrants who come to America, they know very well that the reason why they can do all this is largely the sacrifice African Americans in the United States. And so when the ADOS thing happened, the reason a lot of them were against it, because they felt like, okay, if African Americans actually come as a group and they start actually closing the immigration doors, then we might not be able to come to the United States. So that was what was going on. I'll put you on some game. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we all knew that. I mean, and my thing is, black people didn't, like, black people, like, African immigrants are really not the biggest tribe of word. But the thing about it is, what wasn't going to happen is you all were going to, white people were going to be allowed to, you all were going to allow white people to use you all to undercut what the fuck we're doing. And here's another thing where the ADOS thing really happened. The reason why that happened is not because people are trying to close you off from coming in, because most black people, if we let any motherfuckers in here, we want it to be more black people. Black people fought for that because we got tired of all these other motherfuckers. We rather y'all come in here than like Hispanics, if we're gonna keep it perfectly honest.
That's part of the issue. We fight. See, you got to remember, Pan-Africanism didn't start in Africa. It started here. So when we fought for them to come over here, but if we try to do business over there, you got to go through more jumping to the hoops like you playing fucking hopscotch. So when a lot of people came over here, you got to think about it. We didn't mind you taking the benefits like the schooling, the housing, and the tax breaks. But as soon as you didn't include us inside of it, it was kind of like fuck you too. Because y'all, let's talk the truth. A lot of Africans who came over here did carry the fuck out of blacks.
And then and then what happens is folks will try to talk about not all, and then people will talk about the exceptions, like Godfrey and his father or something. These are exceptions. And so the tribalism games that you all are playing, that people are playing over there, basically got carried over here, which is fine. But then on top of that, on top of what Charles was saying too, then it becomes okay. You all will play the game and allow white folks. This is where clutch kind of comes in, where you all will allow yourselves for white folks to try to make you all the like exception, and you all are black too, to kind of justify shit was happening. So at that point, you all establish yourselves as a threat, and is this everybody know? But you didn't hear enough people really speak against that. But here's the thing where the ADOS thing really popped off. A lot of folks, when it comes to the media, people like Joy Reid, who is Caribbean, not African, and folks, academics who again is Caribbean, not African. You start to look at certain people, a lot of these blogs that are getting funded, like the Shade Room, that's Nigerian, her, and a lot of these feminist groups and all these other groups. What you're and obviously, a lot of these dudes are conservative as well. But my point is, you see, okay, when we actually look at the infrastructure of what is black, it's either culture vultures or the ones that are black ain't really ADOS. So they're like speaking for us as like image. It's like if you look at your House of Representatives, and I'm not saying entertainment should be that. I'm not saying that, but you get what I'm talking about. And it's like none of them are representation of your tribe. You'd be like, what in the fuck? And anybody will react that. Anybody will react that way. And then when we bring this to them, because it was individual folks getting picked off, then it was this fucking denial. And then with black people, with African Americans, when you deny obvious bullshit, African Americans have a certain reaction to that because we bullshit each other all the time. So then what they did was folks started ratcheting it up. And really the thing that fucked up the momentum was really Yvette Carnell and Tone putting in their own socialistic LG bullshit in it, and that really derailed it, because they wanted to use that as a mechanism to play democratic politics, and that's why you don't really hear about it as much anymore. But those feelings are still there, and luckily it didn't get to the point where folks were just economically going after y'all. But so it's kind of like one of those things is ain't nobody saying necessarily asking for a thank you, but don't then forget the fact of where you got shit from to the point where people want to play temporary team up games with white folks and then can't stand white folks, but that's considered playing the game, which people can play the game, but then don't get mad when people start to remove people's ability to play the game. Because Charles will tell you, me, Angry Man, Charles, like this was years ago on PGS thing, I was one of the main ones talking about, man, y'all, this is one a few times, where I was wrong. But man, these immigrants ain't get shit. You niggas just don't want to do business. And then everybody wanted to cuss me out about that. And then it was Nigerian nerd that basically thought he was calling me out, but he didn't realize he was basically telling on everybody, talking about, oh, yeah, we get all these benefits, then we don't go back. We just go and get somebody else and somebody else and somebody else. So we
it's the same fucking trope.
I never forgot about that. I was like, God damn. Anyway.
It's the same fucking trope the Asians and the Arabs play for years. And you would think somebody who resembles you would actually put you in on a deal. But as soon as we look for like, hey, I want to start this business with you, it could be X, Y, and Z. You'll go out of your way to inhibit us from doing the business, and you'll go to the next. You'll go to the motherfuckers that will call you nigga to your face, and y'all smiling about it. And then look at us like we didn't do shit. Like, oh, like we're not the motherfuckers that didn't fight for you to come over here. And the sad part about it, you don't even spend the money in the community, nor do you groom it for the business. So a lot of these people, and let's be truthful about it, y'all get all kinds of scholarships for minority, and God forbid if you're dark as I am or darker, and you're in Northern Africa, you're actually considered white over here. How the fuck does that happen? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, and you would still go over to somewhere like a Coppin or Morgan State, because God knows how many African people I know who are in the nursing field. That must be like the biggest hustle. I'm not hating on it. But how many will still get those scholarships because they would, on paper, they're considered white? Go to those HBCUs, get that money, have so much money caked up, won't even fucking spend it within the community. We'll either send it back home, which, like he said, the older ones will go back home, loaded, especially when they convert the the U.S. dollars or whatever currencies over there.
They'll be rich now.
They'll be
And
rich as a
nobody's taking
motherfucker.
that personal, but just understand it's like when you doing some block shit, when people want to secure that shit, then it's just like it's just this moral argument that people pull to it. And another thing too, it like I said, it's just it's this like moral argument that folks try to make, like, oh, well, you're perpetuating racism on us, you all are hating on us, and I'm like, we're not doing anything that you all have not ever seen before. And to be honest with you, black folks are half-assed doing it when they do it. The black folks have never really just out. You ain't seeing, oh, well, we're rioting and protesting. And it's just not EOS black businesses that are fucking.
I kind of look forward for the day black people have an embargo trade with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I do too.
I kind of look forward for this shit because I'm like, look, you never get power by begging for it. If I could go over there, whoever is in charge, whatever chief of African, whatever president, senator, whatever type of government system that they have over there, and I can establish business just as easily as you could do it here, then fine, it's fair. But when I come over there, I got to know somebody. Yeah, I don't have to know a motherfucking thing to come over here and take from out of us. You will play the same fucking game. You could open up a fucking corner store and fucking say, I don't want him in here. Fucking get out. The same shit that Asians and Arabs do. But then, as soon as you get off of work, oh, that's my brother, because you scared the motherfucker's gonna kick your ass.
Well, low key, that's why they don't respect us either. And shout out to the balanced black woman for $5 super chat. They are slow to give out citizenship and only encourage us to return in order to invest in their economy and infrastructure. Little to no reciprocation. Yeah, that is true. And Dynas, I fuck with Dynas, but you can go tell that shit to Dynas. Dynas be trying to sometimes act like, oh, well, niggas are just being Captain America. Everybody ain't Captain America like that. But
I'm Captain America. Fuck that. It's my country.
Well,
well, you get call me Steve motherfucking Rogers. Fuck that. That's my country.
But what I'm saying, go ahead, Charles.
Hey, I got to get the hurricane. Got to get the hurricane from you tonight. Shit like that pisses me off. You goddamn right. If motherfuckers fought for it, or for any white person, or for anybody else, it's your fucking country. Get over it. Go ahead.
So answer the.
But what I'm saying is they can give out citizenships and they do make it hard as fuck. And people talk about, well, what about this? And again, I'm not trying to say it's not about being anti anything. It's about, this is what we call putting all the cards on the table, putting everything out there. And what happens is, folks, because you gotta remember, folks argue. Well, Charles probably don't argue with women, but we have battles with our women all the time, so they're good at bullshitting this too. So we already know how the shit comes. It's not like we don't have practice. This kind of deception kind of bullshit, and we know who is doing it. We know who ain't doing it. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But anyway, I'm gonna let y'all get the last word on this, and then I'm moving on to something else.
I was going to quickly ask for I guess Hammer and Liam, like if your family coming to the U.S., did you all know you're going to be categorized and viewed as black by America? Because I've run into people who African immigrants, and like they don't like you said, there's so many tribes in Africa, they don't understand the concept of black.
Well, one thing I will say to you is this, right? When I came to America, I was not 8, so I grew up partially in Cameroon, so I knew the culture. But when I came here, I'm gonna be honest with you, I saw Black Americans as just other Black people. To be honest, like when I grew up, I would watch the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air on television. They looked like people like me. Maybe because I was 10, I was young. But for me, I literally used to think that all the Black people I was hanging out with were Cameroonians. Like they were all the same people, right? It wasn't later on when I started to realize, got to understand more that these are different people. But for the most part, I have to say it really depends. It really depends on the person, because a lot of times what you see is some immigrants will come here and they will instantly assimilate with the Black American culture. And what I mean by that, I mean that they when they get here and they start to experience the same racism that other Black people face in America, they then start to understand why African Americans are where they are. and so there's more of a sympathy. Wow.
So magically, up the history, magically, that's when they get it. That's when they actually believe it and believe that's possible. Which is crazy when you think of, when you think of the same people with the lines being drawn and all that shit, because motherfuckers love to talk about the IMF when we start talking about why economies are this way, that. So they understand when these white folks do shit to them, but when it's us, it must be somebody making some shit up. But go ahead.
No. You know, they're just as white as white Jesus. They're good. They're pure. No.
We stupid on the shit too.
But in all seriousness, a lot of them come over here, and they know the spiel. They know the goddamn spiel. I refuse for somebody saying that we didn't know. It's like the old joke, how did you know white people enslaved them? Because, the motherfuckers in Africa still hold the receipts.
Okay, well, Charles, let me break it down. Look, the way they see it is this: if they see America as the number one nation in the world, so in their mind, no matter what, So the way they see it is, okay, no matter what African Americans went through, at the end of the day, they're still in America, right? So they should be doing better. That's the mentality. But however, when they come here and they are put into the black box and they get the same treatment, then they start to realize. Like, I've literally seen my uncle when he first came out, he had his own view. But after being here for a couple of 5-10 years, and you sort of see how shit was, he changed. He literally is like, now he's thinking about going back to Cameroon now, but that's literally what it takes. Like,
and he just got his nuts grazed with racism.
Hair pulled out. What he got was his hair pulled out. Well, black people for the last 500 years got castrated, kicked in the ass, and kicked in. Okay, we got shanked constantly in the fucking ribs. And I'm gonna say this before I get off, because I'm gonna start a panel tonight. Shout out to Edward, always a pleasure.
I'll make sure I start sharing your channel.
Had to make a cognac run, got the cigars, got the liquor, and I'm about to hang up my nigga, of course.
Yeah, man, get some of that Kevin Samuels traffic, man. I know you can do it.
I'm getting some of it. I'm just, my homeboys calling me the king of late nights because I always start mine late as shit. So who knows? I'm gonna just say this, right? Black people never had an issue with Africans until Africans showed us their real hand. If anything, black people always wanted to go back to their motherlands and invest in their motherlands and fight for their motherlands. Even when it came to Ethiopia, there were black people saying to the government, we fought for this country, why not fight for our people? We've done it so many times. But the problem...
Hello?
Charles, bro, you went out, bro.
Yeah, I can't hear you, bro.
Well, the French are assholes with camera. French are some of the worst with the francophone. So I know.
Go ahead,
Charles.
The francophone countries are fucked up. That's why, when shit happens to French, the France, I kind of laugh. As long as they don't fuck with the cognac, y'all can fuck those people up. But my thing is this: for a lot of the younger African people who know they can't live off of ignorance anymore. Remember, the entire world looks at you as one big nigga. I don't give a fuck about your tribes, because shit, we got tribes too. We call them cities. Hell, sometimes neighborhoods.
Yeah, you're
neighborhoods. Yeah, that's what
you're 100%
high
right.
schools.
They call them neighborhoods.
1,000% right.
They call them neighborhoods. We got tribes too. Guess what? Not every nigga over
even
here
high
likes
schools.
Okay, I could go up the street to Harvard Road, and they could be beefing over somebody over the Alameda.
What do you think?
Okay.
Oh yeah, you're right, man. You're right.
What you think, gang warfare? I mean, so guess what? You cannot. One thing ever will tell you about me. Don't give me a fucking excuse, because I'm gonna debunk it. But I'm gonna start my stream later tonight. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks for the people subscribing, Edward. I'm gonna try to start around about 12:30ish tonight, and I'm thinking of an open topic. Get some shit starting. Gonna have the cigar and cognac lounge tonight. Sounds good.
All right, peace out, bro.
All right.
Yeah,
No, and I'll make sure I post his channel for you all to go up to it. Cause like I said, that's what it's about. It's about, and here's the thing: I don't share people's channels, all like necessarily to. Yeah, I do it to give them exposure, but I also do it to, you all get a diversity, of folks to to listen to see what you'll like and what you don't like, because some people come to these channels in different ways, and so it is what it is, even on that business shit. So the next thing I want to talk about is more what folks want to see out of the manosphere. Like, what are some different topics people are looking to see? What are some different directions? Or even within the quote unquote red pill gossip shit, when we're talking about current events, how far do you want folks to go to that as far as grow? Because there's different levels to there's different levels that the manosphere really can go. I think right now we operate more of a solar system. I wouldn't even say that. I'd say like inner planets. Well, shit, I wouldn't even say that. And so there's levels to it, but the higher levels you go, the more likelihood the kind of format might change, because then you're dealing with a whole bunch of new different group of people. So I want y'all thoughts on that.
Okay, first, but okay. Before I answer the question, let me just respond to what Charles says. Yeah, he's right. A lot of Africans are waking up, and a lot of that happened during the coronavirus. When you had China literally evict all those Africans in China, Kenyans, Nigerians, all of them being put on the streets, that's when a lot of them, like, that is to be honest, that was the first time. Yeah, that was when they started to realize that that they're all black people. That's when they started to realize that whether you're in Asia or America or wherever you are, it doesn't matter if you're Nigerian or Ethiopian, and the world is gonna see you as a black person. I think that was the biggest wake up call, and that's why you've seen sort of this push, sort of push the Chinese out of Africa. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if from now on you start seeing a change in behavior. But I'll leave it at that. But when it comes to the manosphere thing, yeah, the manosphere is more of like it's really like its own universe. Like there's the red pill universe, SYZM universe, the game universe, which needs to go away. But I'll leave it at that. The quote unquote all that shit. But nevertheless, I think that I like it. Look, a lot of universes share many subscribers. So like, a lot of people will subscribe to Edward, maybe subscribe to Mr. Fantastic. So my thing is, to be honest, we are already interconnected anyway. It just has the appearance that was separate. But to be honest, we all share the same audience. But it's cool.
Yeah. So I mean, like, so for example, and one thing that folks need to understand too is there's already established networks. The manosphere is kind of like a little, it's kind of like a big like city ship or something. I don't even want to say like a boat, because it's more like a ship with multiple decks. Because the reality of the situation is, there is a very big black geekdom community that has, some of these motherfuckers own some wannabe white shit, but a lot of them own some really cool shit. You're not going to get the same kind of black men, black women shit necessarily, although that is in there with some of the feminists. It just depends. You've got the black travel community, that's very big, and even then you can actually separate that. I wouldn't say there's so much. The black female travel community is much larger than the black male exclusive travel community. So usually it's going to be black women, or it's usually going to be black people. That even has sites that's outside of YouTube. You've got obviously the broader gossip community, obviously the political community. You've got the Christian black community, and I think we always talk like the manosphere is like the main thing that's black, and it's really not. I mean, even within the manosphere, you have people that kind of operate in their own solar system, like Jada Black, Harvey, Superboy, which is Your World, even the hip hop community, the sports community. Shout out to Ticket TV. And what I want to see more is partnerships with some of those groups. Like, well, not so much groups, but channels within those groups. So the one thing that we do have is we have a viewership that certain people can kick up at a very high rate, and most of these other people cannot duplicate that. The geekdom community is not necessarily, unless you're like a really big channel, and we see the bigger channels, but the bigger channels are not hold on one second. The bigger channels are not the only channels. Like, a lot of times if I watch certain shows and stuff, they're smaller black channels that can benefit from what we do. And obviously and I'm not talking about people where they can't contribute anything, but they can bring a different flavor because they expose us to different things. Like even my channel is only 3,300, but even with the viewership alone, if I were to turn off like you all seeing my subscriber count, a lot of people would perceive my channel to be a lot bigger than what it is. This is also where Kuda comes in when he's talking about the audio shit. And I think that is a conversation that needs to be had, because I think that there's much more that can be had with that conversation than what gets had with it, even though I was kind of barking about that too a little bit. Because that nigga, I was like, damn, Kuda, because Kuda really be shaming, like, I don't fucking understand. Like, Clutch. Kuda talks about a mic like somebody would talk about wearing fucked up weave, like purple. Nigga, I don't give a fuck. There is no excuse, motherfucker. Like, damn. I mean, no, because on the one hand, like, I'm actually interested in doing better for my audio, because like people, it seems like when I talk like that, you can hear my like that, and I want to get a mic, like a filter and stuff for that, because I'm actually kind of self-conscious about that. That's actually one of the reasons why I talk a lot, ironically, because if I close my mouth and then it's like I'm smacking my lips, like so I have no problem. If somebody wants to put the information down as far as OBS and stuff like that, and then make it so people can go to the manosphere, and when they want to get their upgrade, get it, then that's a very valuable thing. But it's this thing where it's like folks trying to tell people to do that, where it's not like the audience is communicating with them that they don't like it, because they're fucking giving us money. I mean, niggas listen to RB fucking R, but I guess she's got a better mic. Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, what do you think about some of the stuff that I said?
I'm gonna Hammer go first.
I know I say a lot of shit, and I'm like,
all right. Yeah. Look. First of all, let me address the DJ Kuda thing straight up, because it needs to be said. Okay. The reason why Kuda is going on this rampage about buying the S&P one, all this might be BS, because look, bruh. Dudes have been trying to address the whole game pass for a very long time, bro. The whole thing about dudes being out here getting a starter, bitch, bro. When I came on Bernard's Rally panel and I just laid down the groundwork, all I did was essentially allow other people to voice their anger. That's really what it was. And now he's just mad. Bruh, it doesn't matter what mic you have. If people care about what they're hearing, like, they're going to come to your channel. You're going to have the best mic ever, but if your entire channel is focused on colorism and all that shit, I'm like, okay, so what? Everything you're saying is BS. So my thing is, look, the reason he cares so much is because that's all he has. He lost the whole game battle, so now he wants to talk about how he now all of a sudden DJ Kuda is a nigga who's gonna make everybody get brand new micro equipment and that.
Here's the thing. I like, personally, I think Kuda. Here's the thing, and I want to say this. I want to be very clear. Number one, I do like DJ Kuda, but your opinions are your opinions.
Can I say something quick?
But let me say this real quick. The thing about Kuda is the way Kuda vibes his channel. His channel is actually looks to me like one of those bridge channels, because when you look at the music and look at all that stuff, it is the type of channel I could be like, okay, the women can come to this shit and compartmentalize here, where it's like men and women. Because every channel, like, people always had this thing about the manosphere, like, oh, bitch is gonna take over. Not necessarily. There are certain channels that's just gonna be acclimated to having an environment where it's black men and black women, and motherfuckers need to kind of be okay with that. They're like, every channel is not going to be that, but there are places that folks need to be able to go, and audience needs to be able to go to say, okay, these are what sisters are comfortable with being. And Kuda is not like attract a whole bunch of female type of dude, but he's more like, come in, chill, hang out, we're gonna have these conversations, do the overnight. I actually like the overnight shift thing that he does. I mean, if he's willing to put that kind of time into it, I'm not gonna say nothing about it, because that's some shit that people can kind of come to. There's a lot of truck drivers that drive late at night. There's a lot of, well, COVID, but there's a lot of people that work overnight that listen to this shit. You'd be surprised. Anyway, go ahead.
Look,
the other dude, Liam, was it, or is it Renaissance?
Hammer, I'm gonna have to call you out, man. 4 months ago, you were on DJ Kuda's channel, and you asked for advice, and you basically said you wanted to pump up a female, like lose your V card, and now you're talking about you want to find a wife. It's like, come on, bro.
Okay,
and now, no, let me finish. And now, basically, you kind of sparked up a whole game versus anti-game beef, and you haven't taken responsibility for this, dude. Like, come on.
Okay, first of all, I take full responsibility for the end of game. Second of all, I want you to pull up that stream because on that stream I was talking about how I met this Latin chick at work, and I thought she was a marriage quality chick. I said it before, even back Kuda would say it, even back then when I came on Mr. Fantastic panel, it's because I've always talked about how because I was raised in a West African home, I always cared about marriage. And Mr. Fantastic will tell you, right? Nigga, don't get married. Nigga, don't get married. DJ Kuda, right? Nigga, don't get married. That's what they all say, bro.
Yeah, so because you can always get married. If you really want to get married, you can always get married later. Even if you can get married in your mid-20s. Like, because if you fucking under 21 talking about I want to get married, I'm like, that makes what we hear from that. What we hear from that is we hear you only believe you can get pussy through marriage, which is, and I'm not saying that's you to clown you because that makes sense if you come from that type, come from a
culture, yeah.
Because I live around a lot of Indians here, and that's Lord knows that's what they want them to think. I get that, so that's not a diss. But if that's what you think, we're kind of enlightening you that these hoes are fucking. You just gotta not get them pregnant. You know. Go ahead.
My thing is, look, my goal is to probably get married when I'm older, 30, 35, because I know that, you know, like a man, your best time is doing like your when you like 30 and up. That's when chicks are trying to get married. That's when you're at your potential, your best earning potential. And also because I'm a DMV, a lot of immigrants here, you know, I can easily find the chick who's like, you know, I guess you could say cultured in a way. But yeah, look, everybody in the chat thing, I asked Kuda, look, when I went on Kuda's panel, all I did was talk to Kuda about the situation I had and about how, you know,
you asked him for some advice, did you not?
Well,
no, bro. You asked him for advice on how to get some women. Like, bro, don't care.
I want you to pull up that stream and say exactly what I say. I need your advice. Because all I remember
to be fair, like Liam, I hear what you're saying, but like motherfuckers, if it wasn't Hammer, it'd be somebody else. Motherfuckers want to find niggas are gonna find a reason not to like somebody. I've been in Manosphere long enough to know that. I mean, I will say that Kuda's got a kind of vibe with his. I think his channel can grow because I think the audience that he can pull from is a much more broader audience without him compromising at least who he is. And I think from some of the stuff, I mean, I haven't looked at his channel like that because I'm done. I'm done with the 8-hour shit when BGS stopped doing it.
Yeah.
And even then, I was getting that. Remember, I was Ubering when I was doing that shit, so people forget that. Like I was out here, Fries, picking up these motherfuckers and listening, and that's what I listened to. So,
and to be honest, when BGS dropped the 8-hour hangout stuff, you actually it was sort of unsaid that you sort of had the right to pick it up. You sort of had first dibs on it, being sort of his, you know.
Well, nobody never told me that shit. Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna do that. I wasn't.
Well, if someone else were to do what BGS was doing in the Saturday night stream, BGS would have given you the first thumbs up probably, or when you would have been one of the first.
I get what you're trying to say. Basically, the Bernard Riley, treatment, like what does it. I get that. And shout out to Art because Art does that. Art does that, and he's an Igmore, and ironically, Art doesn't live that far from me at all. Art of Ibmore, and I'm glad he's doing it because look, I like to talk, but damn, I can't do that shit. Not where I'm running it and having to deal with these motherfuckers. No, I can't do that shit. Even once, not for 8 hours. Like I can do it for like 5, and you starting to see that's people's limit. But my hat's off to Kuda, and like I said, Kuda's stream is a different stream because Kuda's not necessarily an Igmore, so it's more. It kind of expands what the vibe of the Manosphere can be, and we need people to do that. That's why I think he can personally tap the algorithm in a way that other people probably couldn't eventually, because like I said, he been fucking with Jessica X, and even with Jessica X, people want to say, oh, with Jessica X, really what it's about is certain people believe that she shouldn't be able to eat off this space because she's a female. And at the end of the day, the folks are going to decide who they want to give their fucking money to for whatever reason. And I'm sorry. I mean, look, do I think that, people should be doing the OnlyFans shit? No. And I'm not going to the OnlyFans. But my point is, niggas are going to do that. And by the way, even before Jessica X, Paris, there's a lot of these motherfuckers that stay on the
Irene Event, I think.
Yeah, well, Irene Event started to cap out a little bit because I looked at her channel recently. She's at 5,000. So I think Jessica X will probably do a little bit stronger than that because, again, she's in the UK. It's just even when I put her over there by master teacher stuff, dude's like, oh man, Jessica, you gotta think you put her against the crazy shit the other females were saying, then yeah, she's gonna seem like a Nola girl. A lot of y'all don't know who Nola girl is. Nola girl is like a white chick, Italian chick, New Orleans, that was talking basically pro red pill on some conservative stuff, not really hardcore conservative, but common sense conservatism. And then when the white boys found out she had a black husband, oh them white boys, they lost their mind. But she survived it. But her channel is still, I think it's north of 100, so she survived that hit. That's basically like finding out you a black man dealing with a white woman. They want to kill you at that point. Nigga, how could you do this to us? Very attractive woman.
That's what happens when you build your audience from MGTOWs and American conservatives. It's I'm not getting started.
Hey, she basically baited these motherfuckers. In fact, let's go to Nola girl real quick because I'm curious.
Oh yeah, the white chick with the black husband. Yeah, but here's the thing, she probably I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
She survived. Because they tried to come for her, and when white boys, they get
the girl had a black husband.
No, she has a black husband.
She has what?
Yeah,
mixed kid. You see it? She even flaunting in front of these white boys. Being a mom,
yo,
is the
they
best.
used to simp for her in the comments. I remember.
Yeah, so so when they found that shit, and look, I'm not subscriber to her, so you motherfuckers be like, look, man, look what you doing.
Hey, but look, Nola girl, she's like a really good looking chick. So this nigga, he's hitting well, bro. I'm not gonna lie, he's hitting, bro. He's smashing that bitch. I don't think so.
Like, that's what you white boys get.
Hammer, I gotta come at you once again, bro. I'm just saying.
It's cool, bro. It's cool. I'm hoping anybody else comes at Hammer, bro. That's cool, bro.
Nah, man. I'm just saying that, like, dude, you asked DJ Kuda for some advice, and now you're just saying, now you're talking about something. You want to go back to Cameroon and find a wife, which I have no problem with. If you want to do that, you should do it. I mean, I'm Nigerian. I'm an immigrant. If you want to do that, you should do that. But I'm just saying,
everybody.
No, hear me out. I'm just saying that, like, you shouldn't have asked him for my advice, and then now you're saying that you're
you don't really want to do that a couple of times, and you're gonna start getting tagged. That's kind of like being tagged as being two-faced. And the thing about like I actually like, I'm glad you're saying it. I'm not saying it because it didn't seem like I'm obligated to say it. But I mean, it's not like what you're saying is bad, but it's kind of like, don't get wrapped up in the beef shit. Don't get wrapped up, because the thing is, even if Fantastic and Kuda are having words today, then that doesn't mean necessarily. You don't want to be the nigga that it seems like every time motherfuckers are beefing, you that dude is like getting wrapped up in it, because what happens is people will lose respect for you because they'll be like they done squashed it, but like they kind of now know what side you pick, unless it's something that like you really, you're really passionate about.
No. Here's my thing. I'm just saying that, like, Hammer, you started this entire beef between the game and anti-game. You literally like started.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just.
Well, Fletcher tell you. This is really the game and anti-game shit is really an outgrowth of the basically the Sunni and Shia black battle of the educated lane versus the street.
Yes. And that's what I'm talking about.
You just sparked it off, maybe another round of it, but
look, okay, go.
I'm just saying that, Hammer, I think you owe DJ Kuda an apology.
What?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey,
you dead ass owe him an apology. You do.
Yep.
You owe him an apology because he didn't. I mean, now he feels like people are coming at him and stuff like that.
No, I told Kuda at Hop on his phone. I said, "Look, go to Kuda's channel. Right, there was a live stream after the Bernard Roddy stream. I hopped on his panel and I addressed him, and I told him, "Hey, bro, when I came to your channel and I talked to you about that girl I met at Life Work." Didn't I tell you that I saw her as marriage material? Everybody knows that every step in this space, I was about marriage. Now, when I say marriage, I mean marriage down the line, but everybody was talking marriage right now. And he said he admitted to that. But see, everybody...
Bro. He literally played the playback. He played the playback of it like either last night or the other day, and your words were, word for word, look, I'm not looking for anything serious. I'm just looking for like a pump and dump. If you think I'm lying, go to the playback.
Let me, okay, because I don't want to go
I'm
back.
serious. He said
No,
that.
I hear you, but I like. Here's my thing with this. At the end of the day, with this game and not game shit, really, what a lot of dudes are talking about, what MOT and a lot of these dudes are talking about, because we've had this conversation.
Versus
what we don't like is okay. There's a thing called in the black Christian community called prosperity gospel. And basically, prosperity gospel is really take the Old Testament out of the Bible. Anything that's negative, any of the shaming shit that doesn't appeal to women, because that gets in the way of you and the money, and basically tell these motherfuckers what they want to hear. So now it becomes a tell you these women what you want to hear shit on some straight hustle shit. This is what most of your mega churches are populated with. What it's not that black men have an issue with game. Even Clutch will talk about game from time to time, but he'll do it from a more position of social skills. It's really about that's why he was talking about the life experience and shit like that. That's what he was alluding to. But a lot of dudes sell game is like this prosperity gospel, prosperity game bullshit. It's like this is the be all end all for everything. And what happens is you're glorifying, and see, y'all are like a lot younger. Y'all even younger than my youngest brother. So I can tell you this. Nobody's telling you all to not know how to talk to a female, or nobody's telling you all to not know how to interact with dudes. When I say interact with dudes, I'm talking about being able to get money out of them when it comes to investment and stuff. Think and Grow Rich will tell you your ability to work with other human beings in a group is a very important indicator of your success. It's probably one of the most. So your ability to interact with different, it's not about just men or women. It's about different, you all know, different cultures, immigrants, non-immigrants, what type of immigrants are you dealing with? You know, what type of African Americans you dealing with, just under having that social intelligence. There's a by the way, this chick is from Cameroon. Jay Nice on the mic, Dr. Jay Nice on the mic. It's having social intelligence. Now, what African Americans value as social intelligence has been pretty much created out of the culture that we've had of having to basically get around shit that white folks have put in our way. That's not necessarily the type of shit that y'all need to understand. Not because they're not in your way, but there's issues with that. So dudes have made this like a religion. This is based on matriarchy and gynocracy. That's the thing that people don't understand. You know, dudes will look at game like a rite of passage for their manhood. And this is what you were talking about, Hammer, with other groups were picking up on that, and they don't respect that. Females are assets, but females are not something where you supposed to let them tell you who the fuck you are, like if they want you or not. You supposed to get the power, and then the dumb bitches are not going to come, and then the bitches that are smart are going to come along, and then you pick from the ones that you want. This is why black women stay in poverty. You know, because this is why they stay in perpetual poverty. The manosphere wouldn't even exist if black women were perfectly happy with their fucked up choices and they didn't throw black men under the bus. You wouldn't even have a manosphere because it'd be no point.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, anyway, but yeah, this chick is actually from Cameroon, so you know she's talked about colorism in Cameroon and shit like that. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, can I answer now? Okay, now back to what I was saying. Look, anybody who's been in the manosphere knows that the educated lane versus Phuket is in a long debate. It literally takes different forms. I've said it before. Game changer. A lot of dudes like those. You can see it now. On one hand, you have Men of Tomorrow, Game Changer, Complex Design, the educated dudes, the guys who know game is not gonna get you out. No game doesn't matter out here. But on the other side, you have Platinum Elite and the other niggas. It's really become another educated lane versus Tyrone debate again. And I am very much proud. And look, I have no regrets. I am very proud I started because I hated the fact you kept telling me to get a starter hoe. I'm not getting. I will never get a strap.
Well, I mean, a purpose. Here's the thing: a purpose of a starter hoe has a purpose, but the thing about it is, it depends on who you. Because starter hoe does not necessarily mean strap. My thing is this. Obviously, you don't have this thing. You're obviously playing it in your culture, so you don't have this thing where you have this gynocratic thing about black women where you can't date other women. The first thing that I tell dudes is, fuck with who fucks with you and learn with who fucks with you, or the best of who fucks with you. Because there's certain women that are going to gravitate towards you regardless. Now, there is a level of you don't have social skills to even meet that basic American level. And when I say American level, I'm talking about any female. And then that's a different conversation, a different question. But usually the starter hoe shit really comes from, okay, are you trying to just date black women? Because you can get a white bitch that's a starter hoe. Basically, starter hoe just means an easy chick that you don't have to ask yourself, oh, well, have I not had sex yet? Or is there something wrong with me? Like that shit that plays in your head longer and longer and longer, and it gets worse and worse the older that you get. That's what they were kind of alluding to. But at the same time, if you're dealing with the different types of women, because here's the thing, let me ask you this. Both of you all come from like backgrounds that are not like ADOS, so you all have different cultural experience, even though you're second generation. Do folks in your family understand that you can fuck different races of bitches, but at the end of the day, you can, when it's time to have a family, you can come back home to something that's more relevant to what your family might want? Do they understand that casual sex is not an indicator of who you about to marry when you decide to do that? Is that an understanding or no?
Somewhat. I mean, I've been pushed to marry like a Nigerian woman, and I noticed how a lot of them are feminists, like super feminists.
Yeah, when they get here, I don't know what it is when they get here. And the funny thing about it is they're smart enough to not talk shit about Nigerian men. When they say black men, that's kind of a double statement because they know they're really kind of talking about us. They will never directly call out Nigerian men in the United States. I noticed that. They're not fucking stupid. But go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, have I dated outside of my culture or my race? Yeah. But I don't even know if I want to get married. But if I did, probably not within my culture. Probably because I just noticed that a lot of them are feminists, and they're really no different.
Have you said that
to my parents?
Yeah.
No. Because I just noticed that they're really no different than black ADOS women to me. It's like it's really the same to me. So.
Yeah, and to answer I get what you're saying. Even when it comes to the friends of my father, they have a lot of daughters. When they come to because an African culture is so conservative and strong, tight for the women, when they come to the United States and they experience freedom, like they go crazy. That's really what happens. But see, here's the problem. Here's what typically happens. Okay, eventually, and this is what I've seen happen a lot too. They'll come to America, right? They'll go crazy when they're young with their teenagers, right? But as they get older, a lot of times they will then try to sort of like hitch back onto the quote unquote like the African crew they're from. So the Cameroonian chick, right? Then remember when she's young, she was going crazy. But when she gets older and she realizes that okay, like the Black American community is not part of it, like the Black American community can't really support her, or like in America she's on her own. All of a sudden, when she's like 28 up north and like in that critical age, marriage period, all of a sudden now she's all of a sudden gonna hop back to being married. I've seen it happen a lot. In my university, a lot of chicks in my university in Nigeria.
What y'all gonna deal with is gonna be some interesting shit because like 19 to 18, you all actually got 10. You all got like 8 years, and y'all still ain't even hit y'all 20s yet. And then so a lot of this stuff is happening now. Like when I was, God, man, getting the old nigga status. I'm 32 years old. I graduated high school in 2000. I graduated high school in 2005. So understand, you got 50 Cent, Beyonce was just coming out as far as Crazy in Love. YouTube had just got bought out by Google. YouTube was originally supposed to be a dating website. People don't know that. You talk about 3 years before the iPhone, flip phones, the Iraq War, George W. Bush. I actually got the votes. Like my birthday is literally the day before election day. Like my birthday's Monday and election day is Tuesday coming up. And that year it was on election day. So it's a real interesting. But at the same time, it was like 3 years. It was 2 years really before the 2008 crisis. So the economy, money was like perceived it. Like it was just so much money because of a lot of stuff with these mortgages and getting these houses. That's what the hustle was then. It was mortgage brokerages, getting niggas in houses because the initiative that Bush put out trying to get black people in houses, but low key was giving these people fucked up loans. So you had that hustle going. So and then you look at like now, if you want to look at the dating market, the stepdaddy shit was still in effect. It was starting to turn, but it didn't really turn yet. Like that didn't really happen until like really in the 2010s. So it's just so much stuff that didn't really hit yet. Versus now, we're in a transition where a lot of things are just a lot of chickens are just coming home over and over and over. The fourth industrial wave, all of that. Then you gotta look. YouTube didn't exist like that. You just had message boards. You had MySpace. You know, Facebook didn't come out until 2008 as well. So you didn't have none of like Instagram. You had Model Mayhem because there was like model websites, but they didn't have the algorithms that like Instagram has to like really, and it wasn't in the public consciousness because you know the mobile phones weren't where they are. So now everything is on the phone. Like tablets didn't exist yet. You know, laptops were still expensive. I mean, people like it's just a completely different thing versus so what. But here's my point: the shit you all are gonna deal with is going to accelerate at an exponential rate compared to what I saw. And I'm going to tell you something. And my thing when I give anybody advice on anything is I always say that I'm just a nigga. So the shit I'm saying, go look it up, go see if you can correlate it. The information, no, seriously, the information age is there. It's easy to cross collaborate stuff that gets said. I don't tell people what to do. I just say be smart about how you do it. But I'm gonna say this. When I like people always talk about investment and opportunities, there is so many fuck ups. Number one, the fucking vending machine. I wasn't old enough to take advantage of this, but the vending machine thing with the red box. Number two, Google track. I'm not even talking about investments with companies because you can't really tell which is gonna pop or not. But so you got that because that was an opportunity. Then you've got Google with traffic. Traffic used to be extremely cheap on Google. So people were selling all kinds of shit on Google because traffic was like literally pennies. Now that shit is like what used to be pennies. It's like $1.50, $2 a click. It used to be pennies a click. Then when YouTube first came out, like I'm not even talking about 2005. I'm talking about to like 2008 to 11. This is where Tommy blew up because it was about getting the more views you got, the more they would push you. It had nothing to do with the hours and watch time and all of that. This is where you could actually make a reply video. Blog Talk was like the precursor of a lot of this. This was the golden age of like game where that stuff was being sold. So YouTube, Facebook traffic, when Facebook came around, that was cheap. Back when Instagram first came around before Facebook bought it, you know, motherfuckers had their own micro economies. This is why some of these people got so the thing about this is this. You're probably gonna miss your first opportunity that you'll be like, damn, but you got to get good at looking at the pattern. Because one thing is you get to a certain age that it's like, oh, you saw this that happened like 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and then you see the same stuff revving up, and it's then people still hesitate on it. Don't miss like 3 fucking opportunities. Now I can't tell you what that's gonna be. Some people say it's Bitcoin, some people whatever. But anyway, that's the shit I put out there. Oh yeah, and don't get a bitch pregnant, and don't think about getting married till you're like 20 at least 27, 28 at the earliest. Really, I'd say 28, 29. And that's what Kevin Samuel says about marriage. Even Kevin says you should be thinking about fucking marriage till you really get in your 30s. So yeah, anyway, that is what it is.
Yeah, and I'll just wrap it up by saying this. Look, I don't hate Jakuda. With him a lot, but at the end of the day, like, you know, I was just tired of how, you know, like how look, I hate using the word game niggas, but I just tired of how they only present one option for dudes, where it's just game and sitting game. No, you can go interculturally. That's another option for dudes. Like, it doesn't have to be just one place. So just leave it at that.
Yeah,
they're always gonna talk from a perspective of fucking black women. You notice that. And I'm like, and that's how you know it's a gynocracy, because then the other group is gonna fuck with who gravitates towards them. Even white boys, a lot of you wouldn't have any white incels if they would fuck with black chicks. They just don't want to. And that's why, you know, people don't realize that. Like, it doesn't matter how socially awkward they are. I'm not saying they'll get dimes, but when they can only get probably a 6 white chick, they'll probably be able to get an 8 just because of the strength of their white. And then women, and the reason for that, and you see that in Africa too. With Africa, it's a little bit different. Obviously, It's different because it's not. It's more of a novelty. The novelty is a lot stronger because it's not me white men there. That I will give Africans, but so that's not an excuse to the United States. But in the United States, what it is our women have been cultured to where your femininity cannot be validated unless an white person is doing it. You see that a little bit with the Arabs. This is why a lot of chicks will say they won't date light skinned niggas, but then they'll be dating Arabs, which I find funny. Oh, but toxic masculinity. So a lot of times, you don't pay attention to what they say, pay attention to what they do. There's a lot of channels when it comes to charisma. Charisma on Command is one of my favorites. There's a lot of channels when it comes to social skills. There's a lot of channels. Also, there's not even a lot of shit. A lot of dudes that talk about game don't talk specifically about how to deal with the African American woman. They like to talk about game like it's some universal shit, which some of the stuff is, but at the same time, I've never had shout out to Glenn and Cameron. He did a video called "Dating Black Women" it was in 2018. He broke down the different types of black women: the Southern Belle, the Savage, the Valley Girl. What type of dudes that these women are looking for, why, and that goes well with the diesel shit that BGS talks about and the octane. See, nobody's breaking that shit down.
Wait, hold on. Is Glenn and Cameron the disruptive male?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And even though Glendon Cameron doesn't, even Glendon doesn't deal with specifically, he doesn't date black women like that, even married. I mean, he says it's not a cultural compatibility. But at the end of the day, as black men, every man is lined up in this country a little bit differently. Because even white boys, because they're the standard, they don't necessarily have an advantage. All of them. Another thing too, I'm gonna say is this thing with black people, with immigrants, it's like class. Motherfuckers act like that all black folks are broke. Like there's like a class. There's different classes of black people. There's different communities of black people. There's different classes, and so a lot of this shit, a narrative that they tell themselves until it becomes a problem. So it is what it is, man. I've never personally had issues dealing with immigrants because I take folks on a case by case basis. I'm not on this ultra pan African and shit. I'm like, yeah, we have certain things in common, and yeah, we can talk about that. But also the differences are not an issue either, because this idea that black people are always trying to make Africans or any other immigrant assimilate into African American culture, that's not true either, and that's something that gets put on us too. But we want you all to assimilate in the culture. I'm like, that's not true. That like that's very rare that people are really doing that, because a lot of folks know black culture ain't really. There's different levels of black culture. I mean, the black culture right now with this, stripper shit and all this other shit. Whatever, don't even get me started on that shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
So anyway, I'm gonna let y'all get y'all last words, and I'm actually gonna close this shit out.
My last words would be Hammer. All right, I'm sorry, Hammer. I gotta get on you again. But Hammer, I just think you should apologize to DJ Kuda. In my opinion, the entire manosphere, the entire the entire 3.0. But at least give DJ Kuda an apology. And I really thought about it on in terms of the marriage thing and stuff like that, because I see like Kevin Samuels talk about it, like Obsidian talk about it, and I got to really think about what I would do for myself. I thought about it, and if I do get married, I'd probably go overseas. Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I'd probably go overseas, and I'm not and I probably will go overseas and stay over there. Because let's say I go to Africa and bring her back here, she just changed, right? Or if I marry one that was born here, she's already westernized. You feel me? So, so if I did get married, I would go that way. And that's it for me.
Yeah, and for Liam and bro, look, if you're in the DMV, so there's a lot of Africans here. You could date them, even if they get westernized, because they're surrounded by other Africans. I'm like that. There's somewhat from the culture, but yeah. But one thing I will say about that manager thing, look, when World War II began, right? It started when I think the Duke of some European country was assassinated, right? During that time, there was already an aroma for war. All that needed was just some event to kick it off. In the black manosphere, there has always been this divide between the educated crowd, the black Rangers, Men of Tomorrow, and dudes like Platinum Elite. and this war keeps getting reincarnated. It could have been somebody else. Or I was just the sort of the event that clicked off. And you're seeing now. Look at the group. They're literally split down the middle between the two same factions. So at the end of the day, I hear people try to blame it on me. Look, at the end of the day, I'm always good. I'm always going to be an educated black man. I'm always going to be part of that crowd, and I have no doubts about it. I'm not ashamed of that. And so my thing is, y'all want to blame for this war? Okay, too bad. And
no, but I mean, I get that, but at the same time, you do want to have, always have self-reflection. I mean, don't play the goofy nigga. I don't know. Gee, golly, willigers. Shit happened. Don't be that dude. Because see, women. I'm not saying you're acting like a woman at all. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, women can get away with that shit to a certain extent. Dudes can't get away with that. And I've seen dudes that are beefing turn on dudes that are like instigating or as perceived instigating. And sometimes that comes down to that social awareness. And you don't want to. I'm not saying you should apologize necessarily, but I'm not saying it's a bad idea either, because like when channels grow and shit, people remember that shit. And then it's like, what happened? I didn't know, when it seems like folks are getting phased out because they're put on that fuck nigga list kind of shit, even if it's on the low.
Okay, if there is a perception that I started this anti-game move, there's a perception that I somehow betrayed food. I'm sorry about that.
But I don't know. Well, you probably don't apologize to me, man. It's cool, but I don't even understand necessarily how that'll solve anything anyway. Because part of what you said is true too. Folks have issues with folks because like a lot of what that is talking about based on what was said. But at the end of the day, I did go listen to Fantastic's the first part of his stuff, and he did say. Here's the thing about Fantastic. The thing about Fantastic is, and I'm gonna just say this because
Edward, sorry to interrupt, but I gotta go. I really appreciate your advice, and Hammer, I'm nothing against you. I just think you should apologize and stuff like that. And I'm gonna catch you guys later. But Hammer, I mean not Hammer. Edward, I really appreciate you having me on your panel, bro.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, peace out.
Yeah, peace, bro.
And another, so I'll say this. Well, let me finish Fantastic. I don't know if I think I'm about to talk shit. The thing about Fantastic is like, he'll have this thing where he'll try to it's not really controlling what people say, because I've seen people do that annoy me, but it's kind of like with him, he'll try to. I've seen him do it a couple of times, but he'll like somebody saying something, and he says it's bad information. He'll try to shut it down. And then he does it in like a way that dudes that like really, dudes about some shit can feel a certain type of way about that. Now me, I'll like slow it down, say, okay, what are you saying? And then respond to that. But a lot of people are not going to do that. And these are not necessarily people that are triggered. These are people that are usually even keeled. So I've seen that, and that's not necessarily blame him. It's just sometimes he's in rumble mode, and if you know how to kind of move and bob and weave with that, then it's not going to be an issue. And to be fair, I've had a run in with Fantastic where and that was more on the rumble, but it was what it was. And that's just communication. Like there's a lot of personality clashes with a lot of different stuff. That's why that personality shit that I'll talk about is very important. So that's that. But as far as the microphone thing, I understood what Fantastic on the surface what he was trying to communicate. At the end of the day, people are gonna fuck with you or not gonna fuck with you. Now, can the audio equipment and stuff help with your initial first impression? Yes. And is that important for the algorithm and stuff like that? Yes. But most people come into this stuff not necessarily looking to make money. They come into this shit because more of the social aspect, and then when they see the money's here, they decide, okay, I'll invest more because I've seen the money kind of come to me, so why not? That's true for Fantastic, that's true for Ramil, that's true for that's definitely true for me, because I just now turned my super chats on, and I just now started cashing that super chat money out, and that's not something that I go into expecting. I don't be like, I expect this and then something wrong. That's so a lot of people come in it that way, where it's more the social aspect, it's not a business aspect. And I've seen people do this on Twitch too, where they're just playing video games, and then once they see people are donating, this was before the Manosphere, once people are donating, they may do a little bit more because it's something they're already kind of doing and passionate about. But it's not something that people want to necessarily say, I'm about to quit my job to turn to YouTube shit. Even O'Shea, that wasn't O'Shea's initial full on intention. O'Shea invested in it more and more and took some leaps once he saw there was a market for it. But I remember when O'Shea was fairly new, and the stuff that he's saying now, his channel now is a little bit different. His channel now was more, it was more conservative. Red, you niggas ain't shit. Kind of, sort of, not really, but you know, but people change. It's like with Kevin Samuels, his channel is kind of like a couple of different things. It was more like Style OG. Now it's kind of like a combination of things too. And channels grow, they evolve, and the manosphere grows and it evolves, because the manosphere 1.0 is different than 2.0, and 3.0 right now is different. The 3.0 era is different than what the 2.0 era is, because it's things that we build on each other. So it is what it is. Last thing I was gonna say, as far as younger people listening to me, like people that are like 10 years or younger, here's the thing. Like I said on the thing, to y'all, the reality is you all got time, and as long as you all don't fuck up your credit, you all basically stay focused on what you want to do. Try to learn to tap into the economy in multiple ways. Obviously have a career, obviously have skills if that's what you want to do. If you're a business person, you know, make sure you get something that's more stable, like a trade, if you can, you know, have different stuff connected. But the name of the game is you building shit up. You all are already ahead of the curve, because there's nothing these young chicks can tell you, because we're already telling you what it is in real time. And we are not like technically old niggas. Like, I'm 33. I got a brother that's 28. I got another brother that's 23. So we're telling you shit in real time. So there's nothing they can't tell you. But at the same time, get your passport, get all that shit. And here's the thing: don't take what anybody says as gospel. Try it out. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, come back and get the feedback. But don't hero worship nobody. I ain't shit, and none of these other content creators ain't shit either. Let me say that. And take the information for what it is. Some of it is going to be very actionable. Like I said, Glennon is a very actionable guy. Some of it is a lot of dudes trying to blow smoke. And I'm just saying in general, that's not even at certain people or anything like that. But you know, but there's a difference between just challenging shit just because you want to challenge shit. Like, try the shit out for yourself. And if you're going to challenge some shit, then you need to be ready to disprove it. Not, no, I don't emotionally agree with it. But that ain't even a lot of younger dudes doing that. That's more motherfuckers. It's more like 26, 27, you know, 30. They just want some shit to say just to say it. So anyway, Hammer, I'll let you have the last word, and then that's it.
Yeah, and to wrap it up one more time, one thing I'll just say is this. Anyway, I've only been I've watched the Master for many years, and it's only been like 2 months that I've actually like been on.
Damn. So how old were you when you first found the Manosphere? I want to know that. I'm curious.
When I started watching the Manosphere, I was in ninth. I was in ninth grade.
Damn.
I was around like 15 years old. So literally, like, when I first hopped on, like, yeah. So in less than like 2 months now, I've become this worldwide name in the Manosphere. So it's crazy how a 19-year-old kid in 2 months is now starting a whole war, right? Right. So
well, I mean, a Manosphere is like, it's a collective, so you can kind of get pop. It's just like an algorithm where shit can blow up. I mean, the thing about it is there's room for channels. Like, I mean, obviously you're an African kind of, you know, 0.5 immigrant, you know, same thing with Liam. There's channels for you all to do channels on your own based on that commonality, and then, you know, hook up with maybe Master Teacher, hook up with some of these other Africans that may be on WhatsApp, because you're going to have an experience. Because the thing is, you have a novel experience because you're in America, like you're in DC, like they're seeing that as the capital. I mean, real talk. And so you can tap like a lot of numbers because these people got phones, they got internet cafes and stuff like that. And like even Fantastic said, this stuff is the new TV. You know, and so that actually creates a unique opportunity, like what Liam was saying about, you know, the feminism. Fuck Grapevine, the Grapevine, they could go to hell. That public service announcement, because they're a perfect example of those Nigerian feminists. Like it's like they rebel against their patriarchy, but what they do is they try to do it in a bitch made way, like a safe way. We're gonna come to America and beat up on the black male gynocracy, which we not even coming at them like that, and then they not gonna call out their own Nigerian men. And I'm not saying Nigerian men are bad. I'm just saying if you got a beef with them, say that so they can know you talking to them, so they can regulate. But you're afraid they're gonna regulate your ass. So you all, I'm talking fuck whatever tribe, Ebos, none of them. You can say whatever tribe, but none of them play that shit. Like none of them are gonna play that shit. You know, that's one thing they do have in common. Go ahead.
The reason they and to wrap up, the reason they do that, like I said before, they always come back. They ultimately don't want to be part of the African American community because they see as a community as destroyed. So they'll use the opportunity in America to say shit. But when they become 28, 29, 30, all of a sudden now they were in the daishikis or speaking in Nigerian. So
No,
all of a
that
sudden,
is true. No, Hammer, you're right. Like you did say that before, and I want to say that is, I do think that. Well, it depends, but I think that's more. That's more. That's like 75 correct, and then 25 maybe they fall in love, or they'll get a white man if they can get one too. That's like a lot of that other 25%. But yeah, but here's the thing. Like, not look, there's some attractive Nigerians. There's some attractive Nigerian females. Like they really are. Like I can show you, pictures and stuff, even from Canada. But the thing about it is, because the thing about it is African American men don't give a fuck. Here's the thing: African American men are not hurting for bitches. That's the thing that folks don't understand. Like it ain't like African American men are we ain't even hurting for African women, to be honest. It's not no, I'm not, but it's not like, it's not like, African American men are looking for this. So we don't give a fuck either way. That's my point. But who falls in love with that shit is black women, is African American women, because they'll sit there and let these Nigerian women gas them up with this feminism bullshit, where these Nigerian women are low-key doing the same thing as kind of these white women do. Where these white women will say men, but they never say white men, because they all reserve their right. And that's a game that gets played. And black women will be like, oh, they're dark skinned, so they must have my experience because I'm dark. No. And then this is where a lot of these African women will go back to their tribe and play tribal games. They're not going against their men, because their men will and when I say their men will regulate, I mean the whole family. The older women, all of them will shame the shit out of these females.
And also another thing, for example, let me give you an example, right? There is this Kenyan YouTuber who was on YouTube. I forgot what her name was, but she literally spent her entire time about how black men are the weakest link. That was the video. And she had her millions of views. That was last year. This year, she's back in Kenya with a Kenyan boyfriend. And that video she posted, she deleted. Like the only reason why
they hustling because when they say black men, they're talking about African American men, and they think it's safe to do that, and to a certain extent it is, but it's a part of the hustle. It's a part of them hustling the sensibilities that we have. And too many folks buy into that shit. And again, that's why I mentioned a lot of the ADOS stuff when it comes to entertainment, or like the infrastructure of like the area of activity of like the media. It's because when you start looking at all these people that's like on the fucking news, I can give you a lot of people, and I'm not even talking about people that's like I didn't even pay attention to it until I did, but I can give you a lot of different people where they play these games on the media and in social media with a lot of this shit, where they're basically hustling. They're culture vulturing in their own way, feminism vulturing too, and a lot of these women buy into that shit. Even fucking Paris Milan was talking about, oh, you need to get an African man and blah blah blah. It's just, they say the thing about, if I was talking, because I've talked to an African woman on master teacher shit, and she was saying kind of the same shit, where she was like, oh, well, African American men are not really ready to be married and all that bullshit. I'm like, we're more married than our women, and I'm like, when you actually question them, it's not even about arguing with them. When you actually give them simple questions, you find out they're fucking with certain type of men. Like they're fucking slumming it up or sandling it up, as would say, and then they ricochet back to their own group, and they're talking about African American men as this like straw man argument, and because black men in America don't basically put our hands on their throat, and give them penalties for that, because really we don't give a shit, because if we know that bitch is fucking if we want to fuck. And that's the only thing a lot of black men really care about. They don't care about it's not they don't care about their political, their collective identity. It's that it takes so much aggregated power to control that, especially when you have a whole society that's like invested in keeping the black narrative what it is. There's just other shit to deal with. But yeah. That should be
Yeah,
another video for another day. But go ahead, finish it up.
to wrap it up. And I saw that live stream with Nancy, and let me tell you real quick, and this won't sound mean, but I have to be honest with y'all. Okay. The reason why she says because she is the type of chick. Look, even though these African chicks become feminists, right? They still want African American men or Americanized men or feminized men to behave patriarchal. They still want these dudes to pay all the bills, to do all the shit. But see, what they don't realize is when you're dealing with a dude who's not, in the patriarchal society, all you're getting is D. So that's what happens a lot of times. They'll buy into the feminist shit, they'll go with Tyrone. These Tyrone dudes fuck with them, throw them to the side, and then all of a sudden now they become these traditional African chicks who are going back to Africa to get married again. So that's what I thought about. Don't let that's what it's about.
Oh yeah, it's and it comes back to I want my cake and eat it too.
Yep.
And then that's the allure, that's the seduction, and that comes no matter what brand it is. I want my cake and eat it too. I want him, and that's why I don't even call it feminism no more. Like outside of feminism, really 2.0, but I'll give it 3.0. It's really feminine supremacy, and that's how it needs to be addressed. That's how it needs to be dealt with. Every what I would tell any African in Africa is I'll tell them straight like this. Feminism is a soft shoe way of undermining. It's a long-term way of it's like dripping like like one little drop of gasoline in your water. It's in your cup of water. It may not kill you, but it's gonna make you sick, and you'll wonder why. It's a way of undermining a culture and a society long term. That's why in Africa across the board they're talking about the how many children you don't need to have. We all know the games, and feminism is like the first wave of introducing that. Then they're going to start introducing birth control, then to minimize your population. Then you're going to start seeing other groups start coming in Africa more, which has already been going on. The Indians have been in Africa before the Chinese, and then now you got the Chinese, and then you'll probably start, and then you got the Arabs, just really north of the Sahara, which has been there before anybody, as far as a foreign agent. So before you know it, while you're playing with other tribes, fucking with them, before you know it, now you have a unified group that's unified and taking over your shit, and it's already happened, but it's doing it with the resources, and they don't. And feminism is a soft power way of doing it, just like how they push the LGBT shit. That's a soft power way to soften people up, and I see some cracks breaking with that LGBT shit, and I see some cracks breaking with that feminism shit too. But as far as folks starting to break for that and let that shit go. But anyway, I could go deep into that if I wanted to, but I got other shit to do. Wait, what else you wanted to say?
One more thing. When it comes to feminists, look, guys need to understand. This is why I personally hated when Paris Milan said to compare African American men to African men. Look, Paris needs to understand. No matter how much feminism Europeans push, the men in Africa still control the government and the law. So at any point they can come down chick. It's a very different situation. So if things get aligned, they can always bring the government and shit down. And also they have tribes. They have a tool that black men in America could only dream of having, like a strong female alliance that will shame the other chicks, culture, tribalism, a tribe that you belong, a government. All these tools that black men in Africa can just use at any point.
African American, you don't see a lot of African American women fuck with Africans like that because of that. Yeah. I mean, the one thing African American women needed to see was when they saw that like the women in the family will collapse, and once they saw that shaming shit was in effect, they said, "Oh no, this isn't what we want." That's why, for the most part, you can see African American women fuck more with Caribbeans than you can Africans, because shaming is not as prevalent in island culture. I mean, obviously there's different Trinidad, Tobago, Barbados. I get all that, but I'm saying across the board, they're not shaming as intensely as like what Africans would. So, but even then, it's a reason why black women fuck with who they fuck with, and a lot of the shit that these women do is sexual politicking. And once you see it as that, you understand a lot of what they do. It's just them sexual politicking, and through a lot of these isms. I alluded to it with the 80 shit. I alluded to it with that's one of the reasons why Clutch didn't like it, because it was a lot of folks saw it as a methodology to control who black men were fucking with. the dick. It was another kind of better form of dick policing. And you see that one, and this is a part of social intelligence. Like once you see that, and like I said, man, I'm telling you, like go check out. And I'm not telling you have a social intelligence problem, but since he's gonna mention that, there's channel like go check out Charisma on Command, and I'll give you a lot of the channels, and it'll give you a lot of insight. The thing about Charisma Command that I like is Charisma on Command. They show like different actors, celebrities. They show different, speakers and people like that. And it's kind of a fun way to kind of see things. So you can kind of see, oh, maybe I could do this better. Maybe I could do that better, blah, blah, blah. Another dude that you should go check out too is check out a dude by the name of Jeffrey Combs. Type in Jeffrey Combs, go on Mastermind. He has podcasts that he's been doing for a long time. The white dude, this dude could like, and this is not a dude that's like a master charisma dude. He had his own issues with him being too intense and shit like that, and he had to learn it. But I've seen this dude in person, and I have a lot of his books. I've never seen a dude that can break some shit down as far as that shit better than him. He could really look at you and with your body language have like a conversation with you like 2 minutes and tell you a lot about yourself that is like dead fucking on. And even if you don't like to admit it. So anyway.
All right, bro. Thank you for
yep. So with that being said, the links that I've been sending is of Art of Edmore. You all check him out. They're talking about some geekdom shit. I know I've seen my numbers go down. I know that's that Kevin shit. A lot of people like to listen to Kevin because Kevin's channel in the manosphere is like having these women go to court. Let's be honest, that's what it is. So dude, people get different like entertainment from Kevin stuff, and shout out to Kevin. Like I mean, I'm happy. I'm legit happy for people's success because I like to see that can happen in somebody in the manosphere. I mean it's a cool thing to see. So anyway, let me see what you all have been putting a little bit before I end this. I know I said I be ending this shit for like 30 minutes and shit. Appreciate the $5 super chat. That's always appreciated. All the super chats. I know Vision. I mean, until when Hammer does something to piss me off, then that's what it is. Shout out to Mega Dreads Gaming Channel. Let me see what he's saying. See what y'all talking about. Showed. Yeah, they are. I mean, if we like getting into politics, I mean, I personally think if black people need to have a strategy, black people just need to get rid of all of every single congressional caucus, black caucus. We just need to just primary them out. That's what I think black people should do because we just need to replace them and start spending money on all people. Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize it was gonna be like that. I mean, it's cool to have a young nigga panel like that young, because you gotta remember they're gonna be dealing with some different shit because a lot of this shit is really just getting started in many ways. I could only imagine being 18, 19 and like coming in the manosphere. That's really young, man. To hear I mean, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but that's interesting because if you get in this shit like in high school, especially, you got to remember. So when he was that age, these hoes were on like Instagram heavy. That's when a lot of the YouTube heavy, because nobody really pays attention to the under 20, under 18, under 17 YouTube market. It's a different environment than typically what you're gonna see. But it's a lot because it's not as much money, but it's a lot more traffic because these people socialize with it. Man codes that apologize for what? These niggas like don't apologize. They fuck that shit. Stand on your shit. Vision said, and we never saw Google, Facebook, Apple, Amazon coming out. We missed out becoming millionaires. Dude, I'm not Vision. I'm not even talking about investing because that's another aspect of it. But I'm talking about just the traffic side of it. As a marketer, your ability to buy traffic is your ability to buy exposure and attention. And that shit was so cheap and what was being sold. man, if you got on that shit early, Mackie says Jay Nice is also from Cameroon. I've been following Jay Nice for about 4 years now, like for a while. You know, she can be on that like feminist, like light shit sometimes, but for the most part, she keeps that shit in check. So I haven't like, you know, unfollowed her. But one thing she did was interesting. She was talking about how one of her I guess younger cousins or something like that in Cameroon, how she wanted to like brighten her skin because she thought that's what she did. These motherfuckers in that colorism shit, they be really believing this. ERX Dirt said, you know, Jessica X is big time in this space. The thing about Jessica X is, you know, it's funny because people think she's catfishing with that picture. I don't know, whatever. But I'm paying attention to what people say. But you got to understand too, she's kind of a novelty, being that she's from the UK. Not a lot of light skinned bitches in here. I ain't calling light skinned bitch, but you get what I'm saying. So that's gonna create its own gravity. And at the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I've seen women turn on motherfuckers before. But I'm gonna keep it real with you. I mean, it's not to the point where you see a female and I'm jumping on it, but at the same time, I'm not going to be like, oh no, women, because there's dudes that do that same shit. Like there's a lot of dudes that do that too. So it doesn't feel any better because it's a dude. As far as Ty City, you saying DJ Kuda's shit gonna pop off. Yeah, I think his shit'll pop off. I mean, Kuda's gonna get in the list of dudes that I start sharing their channels. I try to share smaller channels, folks that ain't gonna really need my help like that. Not that anybody needs my help, but I like to expose people to smaller channels. And that's something that as my channel grows, I'll continue to do. That same thing with Charles, even Ty City. Anyway, y'all. All right, man. With that being said, this is Edward signing off. Lori, make sure you hit me up via email. Peace.